Look, I am the real young master, but I am straight up refusing to go back to that bio family. Why easy? I already know the plot of this original novel. In this story, the true young master is destined for a total tragic end, no matter how hard he tries. It is a wrap. Eventually, he gets smoked by the fake young master, and the so-called biological family, totally brainwashed. They are under the fake MC protagonist halo. No matter what happens, they will always side with that manipulative, two-faced drama king. I just happened to see a video summarizing this novel one day. In the comments, I casually typed, "If it were me, I would make sure that fake guy is absolutely finished." Next thing I knew, everything went black, and boom, I transmigrated right into the story. But hey, I have got memories of 2 lifetimes now. I can literally do whatever I want. Why on earth would I go out of my way to suffer? Nah. For almost 1 year since crossing over, I just stayed low-key. I was chilling at Old Man Arthur fish stall, living that ultimate slacker life. Of course, I used my past life intel to stack up a little fortune on the side. Just as I was lounging around, watching the peak of a movie, this sharply dressed old man walks in. "Greetings, young Master Carter. I am Butler William of the Lewis family. The master has sent me to bring you home." Before I could even say a word, that familiar electronic voice chimed in. My head went ding. Congratulations to the host for triggering the family return storyline. The true and fake young master. Fate system has been activated. Say what, you trash system. I am out here living my best life, and you just have to crash the party. I completely ignored Butler William standing there. Just looking at this system name gave me a major headache. Yo? System. I mentally yelled. Do you have any idea how comfortable I am living right now, since I was spacing out? Butler William repeated himself. All right. All right. You get it? I replied. But Butler William, go back and tell that family of yours that I am absolutely not doing this. Before I could even finish, my throat felt like it was gripped by some invisible force. I literally could not speak. Please cooperate with the plot. Host. Otherwise, this world will be reset, and you will cease to exist. Holy macaroni. I took a deep breath and turned to Butler William with a forced smile. Fine, I will go with you. 1 hour later, the car stopped in front of a massive mansion. Butler William opened the door. Young master, we have arrived. The master and madam are waiting for you inside. Hearing this, I paused my mental boxing match with the system. I shut down my thoughts and followed his lead. Right now, I just have to figure out how to speedrun this ridiculous plot and get back to being a couch potato with old Arthur. Meanwhile, at the Lewis family dining table, it is okay. Julian, the mother, Heroine, said softly, even if your brother comes back, we will always treat you as our own son. The third sister, Chloe, chimed in. Julian, don't worry. You will always be Mum and Dad' favourite child. Then she turned to her parents. But Mum, Dad, is it really okay to bring him back? He has been living in the slums so long, he is probably a total right on cue. Julian, the fake green tea young master, started his Oscar-worthy performance. Third sister, it is not his fault. My biggest wish right now is to just get along with him. Hearing this, Chloe nodded affectionately. Julian is literally the sweetest before she could finish. A clear set of footsteps echoed. Everyone's attention shifted instantly, seeing them all staring at me. I was about to step past Butler William to say something, but as I scanned the room, I noticed it. Just like I expected. There was not even a seat for me at the table. Ah, the classic script. The true young master returns, only to find he does not even get a dining chair. But I am not the type to just take this lying down. I heard every single word of Julian. Little green tea speech. To defeat a drama king, you have got to out-drama him. I walked up to the table and gave them all a sweeping look. So, I guess you guys are my loving biological family. You guys sure know how to treat a guest. On my very first day home, nobody even bothered to get a pathetic little chair for me. On one side, you are showering Julian with affection. On the other, you are judging a guy you have not even met yet. What a truly loving and united family. Faced with my sarcasm, everyone, expressions at the table shifted. For a moment, it was awkward, and no one knew what to say. Seeing the silence, the fake young master, Julian, hurriedly spoke up. I am so sorry. Brother, it is just that usually it is only the few of us eating, so we temporarily forgot to add a chair for you. Wow. This line was both self-righteous and sharp. He was low-key, implying, you showed up out of nowhere. So, who can you blame but yourself? Hearing his words, the guilt in the hearts of my biological parents, Richard and Evelyn, lessened a bit. At the same time, they thought, this kid really lacks manners. Oh, I leaned on my chin, looking at Julian, who was playing the innocent victim. I remember there are other sisters in this family. Right. Why don't they get along with you guys? Do they usually skip out on dinner too? Dealing with a two-faced snake doesn't mean you have to be fake too. You just have to be sharper than them. Oh, you want to play the saint. Let's see how long that mask stays on once I rip it off your face. Seeing her precious Julian under fire, Chloe immediately glared at me. Of course they come home. Our family is literally perfect. Why would you even say that? I just shrugged and played the innocent card. Hey, I was just curious, because, based on Julian's logic, if they showed up, they'd probably have to stand and eat too. At this point, the system literally couldn't take it anymore. Host, stop trolling. You're just a side character. And the type that gets bullied 24/7. If you get kicked out of the Lewis family now, how am I supposed to get my performance bonus? I just replied in my head. Totally chill. My fate belongs to me, not the heavens. You told me to keep the plot moving. But you didn't say how. Even with 10,086 rules, there's no rule against my attitude. System, host, that actually makes way too much sense. I can't even argue with that. Since I wasn't backing down, Evaine, looking totally annoyed, finally broke the awkward silence. Butler William, get this young master a chair. Yes? Madam, as he spoke, you could see the hype in Butler William's eyes. He had a whole new level of respect for this newly returned young master. Looks like the maids were in for some top-tier drama in this house. From now on, when the chair finally arrived, I officially cleared the first hurdle of the real young master trope, not having to stand while I eat. I crushed that steak and salad in record time, then turned to a maid. Yo, is there anything else? Looking at my untouched bowl of cream soup. Evelyn started frowning. You still have your soup? Wasting food is trash behavior. I just smiled and used my past life memories. Sorry, I'm starving. Our family isn't so broke that I can't even get a full meal. Right. Seeing his chance, Julian jumped right in. Mum, please don't be mad at him. He's lived like a peasant for so long. It's normal. He wants to eat things he's never seen before. After hearing that, Evelyn looked totally disappointed. She looked away from me and signalled the maid. My reputation just tanked another few levels. I looked at Julian. The absolute king of fakes. Seeing the look in Evelyn's eyes, I realized this family is actually delusional. They can't even see through basic manipulation. But whatever. I'm too hungry for petty beef right now. Food is the priority. 30 minutes later, after finishing the last piece of crab, Evelyn finally turned to Julian. Julian, take your brother to his room, even though I'm not feeling you right now. Carter, you're still my own flesh and blood. I want Julian to lead the way, so you guys can bond a little. I just thought to myself, let's see if this clown tries to frame me for hitting him, or just throws himself down the stairs. Even though I was plotting, I kept a fake smile on. Lead the way. Little brother, hearing my tone, which sounded like I was talking to a servant, Julian immediately put on his victim face. He looked at Evelyn like, I just committed a crime. Evelyn started tripping. Carter, you're the older one. How can you talk to your younger brother like that? I was literally screaming inside. Is she for real? I'll talk how I want, but I wasn't going to waste energy on this drama king. In these trashy tropes, if I talk back, I get cooked, and Julian gets all the sympathy points. So I decided to hit him with a taste of his own medicine. I gave him a dramatic bow. Oh yeah, me bad. It's all my fault. Young Master Julian. After you, this humble servant has no idea where his room is. Hearing me call myself a servant made the Lewis parents feel super awkward. I'm literally their biological son. Calling myself a servant made them look like total villains. All right. That's enough. Richard Lewis finally spoke up, sounding a bit softer for once. Julian, take your brother upstairs. Carter, you don't need to be so formal. This is your house after all. Julian knew he couldn't play victim anymore, after hearing his dad's tone. He obediently walked me to the second floor. But once we got up there, he didn't even show me my room. He started flexing every room in the house, especially his gaming setup and study. He was trying so hard to show he's the real boss of the house. When he tried to show off his bedroom, I just slammed the door shut. Total dominance. Enough. Where's my room? I'm not here for your games. With people like him, the best way to crush them is to make them feel like a total clown. In my eyes, he was no different from a stray dog marking its territory on the street. You don't belong here. You should have stayed rotting in the slums. But as I started tearing off his fake mask, Julian finally dropped the act. He looked at me with pure disgust, basically saying he's the only real young master here. Are you slow? I just asked where my room is. I deadpanned. He was about to bark back, but then footsteps echoed from the stairs. He smirked. Let's see who actually matters in this house. Bro didn't even hesitate. He slapped himself hard across the face and threw himself onto the floor. I was actually shocked. Wow, this guy is ruthless to himself. Looking at that red handprint on his face, I just crossed my arms and watched the show. A second later, someone rushed up the stairs. Julian, what happened? Since the actress was finally in position, Julian started his performance from the floor. Second sister, I am fine. I know my brother hates me for taking over his life. If hitting me makes him feel better, it's okay. It is all my fault. Please, brother, don't take your anger out on the family. Honestly, if this guy doesn't go to Hollywood, it is a huge loss for the movie industry. While I was busy admiring his acting skills, Sarah, the second sister, stood up and gave me the coldest glare ever. Who gave you the right to hit people? Didn't your parents teach you any manners Mom and Dad should have never brought you back? She stepped forward and tried to slap me. Vua, hold up. Hitting people is wrong. You know, I caught Sarah's wrist instantly. The playful smile on my face was gone. What makes you so sure I hit him? If you guys want to play games, let's play. I held her wrist tight, and Sarah was losing it. Let go. It is only you and Julian here. Who else could it be? The noise was so loud that everyone downstairs came running up. All eyes were on Julian on the floor. Julian. Julian. Now that the whole family was there, Julian went full victim mode. Dad? Mom? Carter. Why did you hit me? Seeing the mark on his face. The last bit of guilt in Evelyn's heart turned into pure disappointment. I told them, hold on. Don't jump to conclusions yet. As I let go of Sarah's hand, I looked at Chloe, who was fuming. Third sister, you are a professional actress, right? Don't call me that. You thug, Chloe sneered. So what if I am an actress? What does that have to do with you hitting Julian? I said. Chill out. Ignoring her murderous glare, I spoke slowly. If you're an actress, you should know that when someone slaps themselves, the thumb points toward the ear, but if someone else slaps them, the thumb points out. Instantly. Everyone's eyes zoomed in on Julian's face. They say outsiders see things clearly while the family is blind. After my little tip, their looks toward Julian started to carry a hint of suspicion. They suddenly realized this might be the first time they were actually looking at their younger brother. Sarah was still on the floor, looking at Julian, with total worry. Oh, shoot. How does this country loser know so much? Seeing the suspicious looks from everyone, Julian panicked. Brother, I know you hate me, and you can hit me or scold me. But why would you frame me? Wow. The fake tears started instantly. I have to admit, this move was super effective, except for Chloe. Everyone else looked guilty. All right. All right. I cut off Julian's little performance, not wanting to waste time. I stepped forward and grabbed Chloe's hand. Take me to the security room. Classic novel logic. When the main character wants to check the cameras, the fake young master's people usually delete the footage. So I had to move fast. Chloe thought for a second and nodded. Fine, I will go with you. After I pointed out the thumb logic, she was starting to doubt if I was really the bad guy. If I were lying, I wouldn't ask for the footage. Cameras provide the best proof. If you're free, everyone should come watch. I said, looking at everyone, my dear loving family, don't tell me you are too scared to see the truth. Fine, let's go together. Richard said, Julian, you come too. If you are innocent, I will make it right. Hearing that they were checking the cameras, Julian started shaking like crazy. He was about to call his inside man to mess with the video, but he didn't expect this country loser to go off script. But he quickly came up with another plan. He tried to stand up, then dramatically collapsed and fainted. Julian. Everyone turned back around as soon as he fell. Sarah screamed at me. You hit him so hard. He fainted. Fainted right on cue. Huh? How convenient. I ignored her yelling and decided to drop some more facts. Hey, try touching the skin under his chin. If his muscles are limp, he is actually out cold. If you are feeling lazy, just blow some air into his eyes. When a person is truly unconscious, their eyes won't even twitch when you blow on them. Everyone turned to look at Julian after I said that. Bro's heart was hammering against his ribs. Julian was probably thinking, why the heck does this country bumpkin know so much? I spotted a servant trying to sneak away and shouted, Yo, hold up. If you guys are so worried, just get a doctor over here. But I am afraid if we hit the security room too late, the cameras might miraculously glitch out. Evelyn frowned when she heard that. "Are you saying we would actually frame you? I just got here. I got to be careful," I replied. I grabbed both Evelyn and Chloe by the hands and marched toward that shady servant. If Mum is suspicious too, let's go see the proof for ourselves. Just bringing Chloe wasn't enough clout. Dragging the mother along meant nobody would dare mess with the footage. Seeing his wife and daughter being pulled away. Richard followed us. Probably scared. I might go full beast mode. Only Sarah was left behind, making a frantic phone call next to the fainted Julian. We finally made it to the security room with Chloe leading the way. From a distance, I saw a guy about to push the door open. "Oh, look, isn't that the same buddy from the crime scene? What are you doing at the security room?" "Bro?" The servant saw our group and started sweating buckets, stammering like crazy. "Master. Madam. Young master. Miss," seeing him glitch out like that. The 3 Louis family members exchanged some seriously shocked looks. "Stand right there," Richard glared at the servant and stormed into the security room. "Pull up the footage for the second floor from 12p and edge. M. onwards." Seeing the master fuming, the security staff didn't dare slow down, and quickly scrubbed the video. I sat down and watched the video starting from 7p. M. just skipped to 12:15. Honestly, if they wanted to watch Julian's top-tier solo performance, watching from the start was fine too. Even if they tampered with the video, I had other ways. I knew the tropes. Since Julian fainted, he was definitely going to pull out some fake medical record later. No need to fast forward. Because of that suspicious servant, Heroine, who used to always baby Julian, was now feeling highly skeptical. She wanted to see what my top-tier operation was all about. As the footage played, everyone's expressions got increasingly weird. It showed Julian leading me in circles around the house, flexing in front of his private rooms and acting like the alpha because he was scared I would steal his power. They could kind of understand that part, but the conversation that followed totally nuked Julian's good boy image. Then came the grand finale. Him slapping his own face and diving to the floor, captured in crisp, high definition. After seeing that, the 3 of them finally realized Julian was faking. My dear, loving family. So that's the truth. I joked with Chloe as the video ended. "Third sister. Did you see that? That is what you call getting into character in 1 second. You should take notes, even though I said that I was mentally ready to call the cops. In these novels, families usually stay blind and defend the fake son, even with hard evidence. But to my surprise, Chloe actually nodded. You're right. I definitely need to learn from that. Carter, I am sorry I misunderstood you. Beside her, Evelyn grabbed my hand, looking totally crushed by guilt. Carter, Mom is so sorry. I should have never doubted you. Richard didn't say anything, but I could see the regret in his eyes. What the heck is this? Seeing them suddenly wake up to reality actually confused me. According to the plot, shouldn't they be biased as heck right now? All right. All right. Can you just show me to my room now? I gently patted Evelyn's hand, signaling that I was fine. Then I pointed at Chloe, who was smiling. Even though third sister isn't heavy, dragging her here was a workout. Their change of heart is a win for me. So I didn't dwell on the drama. If Julian dared to pull more trash moves like today, I would show him what a real critical hit looks like. Yes, of course. Mom will take you right now. Evelyn turned to the servant. Get the young master's luggage to his room. As for Richard, now that the truth was out, he simply said, All right, let's go. As the head of the family, he couldn't just bow his head and apologize, like the women did, but in his heart, He was already planning some major compensation. He realized Julian was, after all, just Julian. The story of the farmer and the viper is real. Some people just can't be warmed up. Just as we were about to leave, a servant ran over, totally out of breath. "Master, madam, the doctor is here. But young Master Julian still hasn't woken up. Second, Miss asked me to call you all over there. Then let's go take a look." Richard's face went dark, and his voice sounded cold. He hadn't even gone to settle the score yet. And this kid was already jumping out again. Let's see what trash trick he is playing now. I watched the servant lead the way, then turned to Chloe, who looked deep in thought. "Yo?" Third sister. "Want to place a bet," since Chloe was the only one there from my generation. She was the perfect target for a little wager. A bet! She saw me smiling and got curious. She totally dropped that initial attitude and asked what the stakes were. Chloe was actually starting to vibe with her new brother. Compared to Julian being a total fake snake, my straight-up energy was a breath of fresh air. Richard and Evelyn were low-key eavesdropping on our conversation. They really wanted to see what their son was planning next. It is simple. After we set the terms, we all headed to Julian's room. There he was, lying perfectly still like he was in a coma or something. Right next to him was a female doctor, maybe 25 or 26 years old. Honestly, she was a solid 90 out of 100 on the looks scale. She had this super gentle aura. No surprise there. She is the family's private doctor. If my instincts were right about that vibe, she was definitely that classic, gentle, supporting character from the novel, but I had to wait for her diagnosis to be 100% sure before the doc could even open her mouth. Sarah was already tripping. She turned to her dad and snapped at me. "Why did you let him in here?" She was still dead set on blaming me for Julian's condition, thinking it was all my fault. That made Richard frown. He reminded her that I am her brother too. Then asked the doctor for an update on Julian. "Mr. Louis, young Master Julian is in bad shape." Dr. Stella replied instantly, "Based on my assessment, because of extreme anxiety. And that hit to his face, he has suffered a mild concussion. Those two things made his brain lose blood flow, which caused him to pass out. It was exactly what I predicted would happen. Right on the money. Suddenly, everyone is staring at me. Standing next to Chloe, I watched the 3 Louis family members. Their faces turned incredibly ugly. Why? Because the bet I just made was literally the exact diagnosis the doctor just gave. I already knew she would use anxiety, and that slap to claim he had a concussion. It is the kind of stuff you cannot even double-check without medical equipment. She looked at me and said, "You must be the son who just came back." I was just vibing, which made Dr. Stella adjust her glasses. She told me she did not expect me to know so much. Since I am the same age as Julian, I just picked up a few tricks from the vet back in my village. It is nothing special. My sarcasm totally shut her down. Dr. Stella tried to stay professional, telling me not to doubt her skills. After all, she graduated from a top-tier medical academy. Her words were polite, but she was low-key throwing major shade. She is definitely Julian's partner in crime, now that I knew. It was time to go on the offensive. If Julian got away with this fake fainting, it would be a nightmare later. My own biological sister was looking at me like she wanted to delete me from existence. "Oh, really? You think you are all?" That I grinned. My village vet taught me a little trick. It just so happens to be the perfect way to see if a patient actually fainted from anxiety. While I said that, I grabbed a feather from a servant's duster. "Since you are such a top-tier graduate, I am sure you won't mind if I try to wake up my dear little brother Julian." Sarah tried to rush me when I got close to Julian, but Chloe held her back. Dr. Stella wanted to stop me too, but Richard gave her a look that froze her in place. I made it to Julian's bed with no problems. I yanked the blanket right off his feet. Little brother, time to wash those feet. He was so nervous he was literally soaked in sweat. Julian was covered in cold sweat under all those socks and blankets. His foot odor had basically turned into a biological weapon. My cheerful tone was driving Julian insane. He could already imagine the disgusted looks the family was giving him, before he could even curse me out in his head. I started tickling the bottom of his foot with that feather. Julian felt like a colony of ants was marching under his skin. He almost screamed, but he knew he could not break character. If he moved, he was cooked. He used every bit of willpower to tense his muscles and grit his teeth just to stay silent. All done. "Mom, come here." I had had enough fun and winked at Evelyn. Remember that little fact I mentioned earlier? I was not going easy on him. The smell was just way too much to handle. I literally had to hold my nose. If his feet marinated any longer, even a professional would start crying. Evelyn just nodded and walked over to Julian. She powered through the lethal stench and touched his arm. His muscles were rock hard and tensed up, which is totally unnatural for someone who is passed out. Her face went dark, and she signalled to Richard, "Everyone knows that when you actually faint, your muscles go completely limp." But Julian was tensing his whole body just to keep from laughing or screaming. Evelyn noticed it the second she touched him. Once his wife confirmed it, Richard's face looked like a storm. "Julian, how much longer are you going to keep faking this? I am giving you 3 seconds. If you do not get up right now, do not be surprised when I kick you out of this house." Julian started to panic. He realized his act was falling apart, and he was totally cooked. "If you do not get up, do not blame me for kicking you out." Hearing that, Julian completely lost it. But if he got up now, the whole act would be cooked. He bit his lip, determined to play dead until the end. "Dad, what are you even saying?" Sarah was still totally clueless and glared right at me. "And you, put that feather down right now." She stepped forward to snatch it away. I dodged her like it was nothing. But, oops. The feather accidentally brushed right under Julian's nose. That pungent foot odour mixed with his massive stress was the final straw. Julian was absolutely finished. Bro actually fainted from the smell this plot twist had everyone staring at Julian in total shock. Even Sarah's eyes went wide. She couldn't believe it. Is this really what a mild concussion looks like? Seeing the vibe go south. Dr. Stella scrambled to change the subject. "Young Master Carter, you have gone way too far. How could you be so aggressive?" But she didn't realize that except for Sarah. Everyone was onto her trash behavior. "Julian's cover is blown. Why is she still pushing this fake story, Richard?" Evaine and Chloe were all thinking the same thing. Just like our son said, these two are definitely acting sus. What a garbage teammate she is. I was low-key celebrating inside. I pulled out my phone and opened the Maps app for everyone to see. Since Dr. Stella is so sure Julian has a concussion, let's get him a real checkup. There is a top-tier hospital just 3 kilometers away. Perfect driving distance. Even though Julian's solo act trashed his image, I know how these fake young master tropes go. If I don't completely crush him now, he'll just come back to cause more trouble in a few days. Now that the 3 family members finally know the truth, they're probably waiting to see his next move before exposing him. As for Dr. Stella, if she stays, who knows what other chaos she'll start. This time, I'm kicking this biased doctor out for good. Seeing me ignore the script and demand a hospital visit, both Julian and the usually calm Dr. Stella started panicking. They knew exactly what the deal was. The concussion and anxiety were total fakes. If they go to a real hospital, the whole lie is over. Once the truth comes out, Dr. Stella is cooked too. Mom? Dad? Julian couldn't hide his fear. With tears in his eyes, he said weakly, "It's late. You don't need to work so hard, running around for me. Having Dr. Stella here is enough." He was going to kneel and beg for forgiveness. But then he saw the servant who faked the video nod at him, so he decided to keep acting instead. This made him look all considerate and gave him a perfect excuse. He could just say he didn't know what was wrong either. After all, he isn't a doctor. How could he know what was going on inside his own body? But he forgot one thing. Why was I, the guy who was supposed to be punished, standing here totally fine? Sending him to the hospital is every man for himself. Have a safe trip. Buddy, noticing Julian's weird attitude shift, the three Lewis family members suddenly glanced at that servant. Their minds were made up. A concussion is no joke. We are definitely going to the hospital, Evelyn said, stepping forward to rip the blanket off. Julian, she spoke firmly, get downstairs right now. We are taking you ourselves. She wanted to see how long this adopted son would keep up the act. If her husband hadn't told the servant to play along, she might never have seen his true colours. Really, you don't need to go through all this trouble. Even though he wanted to agree, Julian kept up his caring family guy facade. Julian, just go to the hospital. Sarah chimed in. She was the only one still clueless, and believed him. It will prove you're innocent. He just didn't want the family to be tired and ruin the harmony. Ha ha! You're such a good second sister, Julian thought smugly. He acted all conflicted and said, Well, let's just not go tonight. He was waiting for the family to vent their anger on me before he agreed to go. Second sister might be a bit slow, but those two assists were perfect. Seeing Julian's smug look, I had to hold back a smirk. Before we hit the car, I had one more gift for him. The only person actually sweating bullets right now was Dr. Stella. If the fake medical record gets exposed and Richard blacklists her, her career in this city is over. Thinking about that, she quickly jumped in. If we're going for a checkup, let me drive everyone to Grand C Premium Hospital. The equipment there is way more advanced. The results will be more accurate. No need. Dr. Stella, who knows if you secretly own that place, with one sentence. I cut off her escape route. I held up my phone, ending a call. Hello. Yes. We will bring the patient down right now. I hung up and turned to the crowd. The ambulance is waiting downstairs. Let's get little brother Julian moving. Really? There's no need to go through all this trouble. When he heard the ambulance was already here, Julian bit his lip, looking at me with teary eyes. Even though he didn't say it, his face screamed. Even though you beat me, I still don't want to get you in trouble. No. No? No trouble at all. It's just a small matter. I flashed a bright smile and flipped my phone around to play a certain video. Honestly, I really wanted to see how you actually gave yourself a concussion. Bro. The second that video started, Julian's face went ghost white. His heart was literally pounding out of his chest. Before this video dropped, he could have made up any excuse, even if the medical check showed nothing was wrong. But now, the video was right there, combined with his clean health report. His whole fake narrative was about to get exposed, realizing he was cooked. His whole pitiful victim act just shattered. He started panicking, screaming that he didn't need a checkup and that he was fine. Too late. Little brother, I just signalled the staff and told them to get him down to the ambulance. When the guards saw that Richard wasn't doing anything to stop them, those big guys just dragged a frantically struggling Julian downstairs. I was blind. I was truly blind, Richard muttered, watching Julian lose it like a total maniac. Richard gave Dr. Stella a death stare before turning around and walking out. Well, Show's over. I'm heading back to my room. Seeing everything was handled, I gave Chloe a grin and followed a servant to my new quarters. Once I unpacked, it was going to be time to collect on that bet I made with the family. While I walked to my room, Chloe pulled Sarah toward the security room. She knew she had to explain things to her sister properly. And no, I wasn't shoved into some basement or a tiny closet. The servant led me straight to my actual room. I dropped my suitcase. Usually, the true heir gets treated like trash and tossed under the stairs. But my setup was top tier. High-end PC. Walk-in closet. Private bath. And a massive king-size bed. It was basically the perfect, flawless room for a guy my age. Honestly, I didn't expect the parents and sisters to switch up their attitudes this fast. I flopped onto the bed and pulled up the system I'd been ignoring all evening. Let's double-check this. I just need to be at the locations where my plot events happen. Right. Correct? Dealing with a host who was a natural rebel? The system felt totally helpless. When I was destroying Julian earlier, it almost hit the panic button. Luckily, my actions didn't break any of its 10,086 rules. Otherwise, it would have used its power to stop me. Thinking about my high-level plays, the system had a total headache. But it still followed protocol to hand out the reward. Ding congrats to the host for finishing the Recognize the Lewis family and Jiangnan tasks and officially moving into the estate. Reward. Master-level mixed martial arts skills. The second that notification popped, my head felt crazy itchy. Good Lord. Am I growing a second brain? In a split second, my mind was flooded with insane knowledge of MMA. Traditional styles. Sanda. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Baguazhang. And even the legendary electric 5-whip strike. You actually gave me combat skills. I checked my body, but it felt the exact same as before. Wait. Actually the same. I just smirked. Good thing I work out regularly. So I can actually execute these moves. After processing all those memories, I put my clothes away and walked out with my suitcase. Carter, where are you going? Just as I got to the living room, I ran into Chloe and Sarah coming out of the security office. Couldn't find your room. Let me show you. Sarah offered. Nah, I'm heading back to my old place for a bit. I just shook my head at Chloe. Leaving again. Does our bet still count? You bet it does. Hearing the bet mentioned, Chloe immediately caught on. Let me drive you. It's hard to get a cab right now. We'll take my car. It only seats 2. Suddenly, Sarah jumped in. Me too, and I'm sorry. I totally misunderstood you. No worries. We're family. Don't even sweat the small stuff. Seeing Sarah lower her head, like she wanted to disappear, I just waved it off with a smile. The truth is out now, so just let it go. I was a bit shocked that they realized they messed up so fast. I wasn't going to pull some edgy revenge trip. Having more people on my side made this slacker life way easier. Carter. Seeing how easily I forgave her. Sarah looked stunned and then deeply moved. Back then, if she made Julian even a little mad, she'd have to spend months of her pay just to apologize. The difference was night and day. Plus, looking back, was she really wrong for keeping Julian out of her room while she was changing? Once her bias was gone, Sarah, just like the rest of the Lewis fam, finally started growing a brain. Can we go now? Seeing her sparkling eyes, I was a bit confused. Was this girl really this naive? I hadn't even done anything yet, and she looked ready to follow me to the ends of the earth. Let's go. I'll help with the bag. Sarah grabbed my suitcase and linked her arm with mine, dragging me toward the door. It wasn't until we were halfway down the path that Chloe, who was just left standing there, finally reacted. Hey, I literally just claimed my OP new brother. How are you going to steal him already? I'm the one who leaked the truth to you, and now you're trying to swipe him, Carter? Wait for me, she screamed, sprinting after us like a madwoman. No shot. She was letting Sarah keep their brother all to herself. Over 1 hour later, at a dusty fish stall in the slums, a neighbour starts yelling, "Yo, old Arthur, your boy just hit the jackpot." Old Arthur was low-key, worrying if Carter was doing okay at his new place when a frantic voice snapped him back to reality. He looks at this middle-aged woman gasping for air and asks, "Mrs. Barnes? What happened? Is my Carter okay? Your boy just rolled up with 2 absolute beauties, Mrs. Beat." Barnes finally catches her breath and smiles. "Look, we've known each other for years, so, when the time's right, tell Carter to let me talk to the other girl. You know I'm the best matchmaker around here. I mean, who wouldn't be hyped seeing 2 top-tier girls? If their car didn't look like it cost $1 billion, she would have walked right up to them. Hearing about 2 girls gave old Arthur a massive headache. Like, this kid got picked up this morning, and by the afternoon he's already acting like a playboy. He didn't say a word, just silently unbuckled his divine weapon, the legendary 7-star leather belt, today. He was going to show this kid what happens when you forget your roots. Meanwhile, I had 0 clue about the fatherly discipline waiting for me. I was just looking at my 2 sisters, who were looking super hesitant at the entrance of the fish market. "You guys stay here." I told them, "It's not busy right now." But the clean-up crew doesn't exactly do a great job at closing time. It wasn't impossible to walk through, but these 2 pampered rich girls had never stepped foot in a dump like this. The floor was gross, covered in fish scales. Guts, old shrimp, and nasty puddles. Add in that summer heat, and the air was, let's just say it was fragrant. Seeing how messy it was, Sarah felt a sharp sting in her heart. My brother actually lived like this, and I really thought about kicking him out today. Chloe is an actress, so she's used to weird stuff. But even she was shook. Movie sets are nothing like the real world. That smell of rotting seafood was something she'd never experienced in her life. No way. We're going in together. Sarah brushed off the disgust and shook her head stubbornly. If her brother lived here for years, she could handle walking through it once. Let's go together. Chloe agreed. We need to see Uncle anyway. Fine. If you guys are down, since they insisted, I led them through the winding alleys, toward the old fish stall. Before I could even say a word, a massive roar erupted from inside. "You little punk! I haven't seen you for 1 afternoon, and you've already turned into a total degenerate. If I don't beat some sense into you today, I'll change my name," seeing old Arthur charging at me with that 7-star belt. I dodged like a pro. "Chill, old man. Even if you don't teach me a lesson." "I already have your last name. You're still talking back," old Arthur roared. "Let's see how much of a playboy you are, when you're still just a kid." "I'm not a playboy." "I'm innocent," I yelled. "Don't you know me? I'm more innocent than Snow White." "Damn it. Take this." My electric 5 whip strike. 10 minutes later, in the room above the fish stall. "All men, could you at least listen to my explanation for 1 second?" I was rubbing my butt, which felt like it had been shattered into 8 pieces, while glaring at old Arthur. He was just calmly sipping his tea. "I came back to pick you up like a good son, and you hit me with a whole combo, a 5-whip combo. Well, you should have explained yourself from the start, ignoring my death stare." Old Arthur looked at the 2 girls sitting there quietly. "This kid didn't cause you guys any trouble, did he?" Thanks to my frantic explaining while getting beaten, he finally realized these were my actual biological sisters. "Carter is actually very well behaved. Chloe remembered how he destroyed Julian earlier, and thought to herself, well behaved. As long as he's not facing my enemies. Sarah didn't know what to say, so she just nodded along. Don't you know me? I stood up, still rubbing my butt, and got serious. Are you really not going to come live with me? This was the bet I made with the Lewis family, to bring old Arthur to live near us. Even though Richard didn't want him in the main villa, he promised to buy him a nice house nearby with servants. If old Arthur just said yes, he could enjoy an early retirement. I'm used to this place. Old Arthur waved me off and stood up to go downstairs. I'm heading out for a minute. Don't keep your sisters waiting too long. He knew I was just trying to look out for him. But like every dad, he didn't want to be a burden to his son. This stubborn old guy? Watching him walk away. I sighed and pulled out a sleek, black bank card and put it on the table. Evelyn gave me this before I left, saying it had $5 million just for pocket money, but old Arthur never touched the money I made, saying it was my blood, sweat, and tears. And that was the whole problem. Even though we are totally loaded now, the old man still insists on running that fish stall. He says he misses the neighbours. But we know the vibes. Part of it is to stack cash for my future. But taking this card, it is basically selling my soul to the Lewis family. He cannot even call it my hard-earned sweat anymore. Right. If he won't take it, whatever. I can always pull up and visit whenever I want, as long as I am not trapped here forever. We are golden. Yo, system. Stop slacking off already. Are you even listening? Honestly. I just ignored the system, seeing me put the card down. Sarah realized. She was finally starting to understand her brother a little more. You think I am just leaving empty-handed? No way. I grinned at Sarah and headed straight for the fridge. Time to raid the snacks. I stuffed every single snack. Old Arthur was hiding for his midnight cravings into my bag. As I packed, Imutter, this old geezer, tried to greet me with a belt. Let us see how he likes it when I clean out his stash. Chloe was not exactly vibing with me stealing the snacks. But she did not stop me either. She remembered how I used to snatch junk food right out of old Arthur's mouth while nagging him to eat healthy. A smart girl like her knew exactly what I was doing. This Sundara way of caring is actually low-key cute. Sarah, being a bit more naive, did not think that deep. She just thought her straightforward brother was being endearingly weird. 10 minutes later in the car, heading back, the drama started. Why are you wearing my clothes and using my gear? You wanted a thrill. Did you? You absolute scumbag. I was watching these distorted, dramatic faces on my phone screen. It was a classic soap opera called The Temptation of the Return. Chloe got so heated, she punched my seat. This scumbag sees a pretty face and loses his mind. Do not let me catch him at the market, or he is cooked. Chill. Chill. It is just a TV show. I quietly pulled my phone away, afraid an enraged Chloe might chuck it out the window. Hey, sis, aren't you literally in the entertainment industry? How have you never seen a script like this before? Chloe scratched her head, his looking totally embarrassed by my question. Well, Mum and Dad will not let me take villain roles, and we rarely watch these kinds of dramas at home anyway. In that moment, she felt like her big sister energy was being challenged, even though she has zero authority over me. You get it. I did not find her answer weird at all. According to the whole true versus fake young master trope, these sisters were destined to become Julian's loyal fans anyway. In those stories, the female leads are usually sheltered before they get played. No problem. Whenever you want to watch stuff like this, just hit me up. I have a whole library of these toxic soap operas. Chloe nodded, totally hyped. Awesome. I am really down for these plots. It felt like a new world had opened up for her. The more she watched, the more Julian reminded her of those manipulative villains. It was the same green tea, play the victim routine. You two are doing way too much. Sarah, who was driving, yelled in total frustration. Why couldn't you guys wait until we got home to watch it together? If she knew it was going to be like this, she never would have volunteered to drive. Now she can only hear the audio and cannot see the drama. She was dying of curiosity. What does the villain look like in that dress? The urge to know the truth was killing her. Don't drive, carefully, Chloe and I shouted together. What? You two are totally bullying me. Sarah glanced in the rearview mirror at us. She thought, if you are going to be unkind, do not blame me for being unrighteous. Witness my ultimate drift skills. Chloe and I were screaming as the car swerved wildly. Meanwhile, back at the Lewis house. Julian had just returned from the hospital and was kneeling on the floor. Tears were streaming down his face as he looked at the Lewis parents. Mom? Dad? I did not mean it. I was just scared that when Brother Carter came back, you would not want me anymore. Please, just give me one more chance. I will get along with him. I promise watching Julian cry like a total loser. Evelyn rubbed her temples. She was getting a massive headache. After all, he was the adopted son she had raised for over 10 years. It was hard to just kick him to the curb immediately. Richard, on the other hand, was just chilling, sipping tea and reading his newspaper. Unlike his emotional wife, he saw things clearly. The Lewis family has plenty of cash to raise Julian, but they are not about to harbour a master of disguise or a venomous snake. If Julian had not shown his true colours today, Richard would not have minded keeping him. But now, as long as Evelyn made the call, he would have him thrown out instantly. Mum, please give me a chance. Sensing Evelyn's hesitation and Richard's cold energy, Julian went all in on her. He knew his only ticket to staying was to make her feel sorry for him. Just as Evelyn was about to speak, 3 loud voices echoed from outside. Chloe's voice rang out. That guy is a total scumbag. Her revenge later is totally justified, Sarah chimed in. Facts. This is the ultimate heiress returns for revenge plot. I replied, you can talk all you want. Just stop sitting so close to me. If we do not sit close, how are we supposed to see the screen? The 3 of us noisily burst into the living room. Seeing the scene before us, Julian totally froze in fear. Why are my sisters so close to that kid? He could not understand why his sisters were huddled around me like that. They walked in with their eyes glued to the soap opera. Holy fudge! Why are they so close to him? To that total country bumpkin? Julian was screaming inside. But then a savage idea popped into his head. He crawled over, grabbing my arm and crying his eyes out. Bro! I messed up. I shouldn't have framed you. Please, have some mercy. Don't kick me out. If I said no, I'd look like a selfish, cold-hearted villain. Bro really lowered himself to the floor. If I still refused, it might make the others feel bad for him and give him a chance to stay. If I agreed, well, then the snake gets to stay. Thinking he had a genius plan, he gripped my arm even harder. No way. I smoothly kicked Julian's right shin, and the moment he lost his balance, I pulled off a flawless shoulder throw, slamming him straight onto the marble floor. Boom! That fall nearly snapped Julian's back. His painful scream immediately triggered what was left of Evelyn's motherly love. I mean, she did raise him. Seeing him get wrecked right in front of her really hurt before she could say a word. I cut her off. Do I look like I enjoy being a punching bag? I rolled up my sleeve, glaring at Julian as he was writhing on the floor like trash. Why should I forgive a liar who's literally hurting me while apologizing on my parlour arm? 10 red and purple nail marks were staring everyone in the face. If we waited any longer, they were definitely going to swell up. I wasn't some weak pushover. As the real young master, why would I let him off easy? If using too much force didn't risk breaking the system's 10,086 rules, I would have given him a much more shocking ending. You've really disappointed me, seeing those 10 nail marks on my arm. Evelyn rushed over, holding me like she was heartbroken. She couldn't believe this adopted son was still playing dirty tricks, even now. 1 second, she felt bad for him. The next, she felt like a total clown. Seeing how disappointed Evelyn was, Julian ignored the pain and started frantically making excuses. "Mom, I didn't mean it. I was just stressed. Having lived here for over 10 years, he knew who actually ran the show. Richard might look like the boss, but on family stuff, he listened to Evelyn 90% of the time. It doesn't even matter anymore." Evelyn shook her head, totally done with his drama. She looked at Julian on the floor and dropped the final verdict. "Carter is finally home. Julian, it's time for you to go back and stay with your real father." When he heard that, Julian felt like he'd been struck by lightning. He slumped to the floor like a dead fish. No way was he going back to that stinking fish stall. He was a young master of the Louis family. How could he live in a dump like that? If he left now, he'd be cooked forever. He scrambled over to Evelyn, sobbing, "Mom, I grew up by your side. You're my only family. As for my real father, I'll find some time to visit him when he's old, but I can't leave you. Plus, school is starting soon. Moving there will totally ruin my grades. Second sister, third sister, you've got to listen. I cut him off before he could play the sympathy card any further. Isn't this exactly like when a villain gets defeated, refuses to go back to their old life, and shamelessly clings to the rich family?" After I said that, Chloe and Sarah looked at Julian with total disgust. They were almost falling for his act, but my reminder made it all click. Basically, Julian's words meant, I'm used to the rich life, and I'm not going back to that poor hole. Plus, after seeing how I treated old Arthur, Julian looked like nothing but a gold-digging snake. You have 1 night to pack your stuff. Evelyn brushed Julian's hands off her skirt like they were filth. Tomorrow, Butler William is taking you back. In that moment, she felt like a complete failure. All those years, and she raised a kid like this. Mom! No, before Julian could keep whining, Evelyn just waved her hand. Take the young master to his room, so he can pack right away. 2 buff maids, who looked like absolute units, hauled Julian upstairs, watching Julian wiggle like a worm. I timed my interruption perfectly. Wait. Can you not send him back there? Everyone stared at me. Even Julian, looking like a total loser, had a tiny spark of hope. He swore, if he got to stay, after he ended me, he'd be nice and not feed my ashes to the dogs. But my next words absolutely crushed him. Can you send him somewhere else? Old Arthur's health isn't the best. I'm worried this guy will just ruin his vibe and take 10 years off his life. Joe, how I feel. Just send him to the apartment in White Ginkgo Estate. Because of our bet, Evelyn knew how much I cared about old Arthur. She pulled me out of the living room to fix my arm. Seeing me get dragged away, Chloe and Sarah followed right behind. Julian's perfect sun mask was officially shattered. They couldn't even stand the sight of him. Fine. Take him up to pack. Richard gave the final word and walked out. No, this can't be real. Dragged into his room by the maids. Julian gritted his teeth, listening to people whispering about him outside. A toxic look flashed in his eyes. He wasn't going to just take this. Why was he being tossed out like a stray dog the second that guy showed up? Wait. Suddenly, he remembered something huge and quickly grabbed his phone. While Julian was out here fighting for his life, the system was watching me get absolutely showered in love. It was seriously glitching, like, did I get the wrong script? Shouldn't the fam be doting on Julian while I'm over here licking my wounds? Looking at the unreleased tasks, the system basically gritted its teeth and dropped a new one. Oh, big yikes. Way too painful. Is this your first time, or what I'm screaming in my head? This guy is literally just like that typical regressed villain. We were just chilling in the private theatre, on the second floor of the Villa Sarah, Chloe, and me, lounging on these massive sofas. We had our feet soaking in wooden tubs filled with those relaxing herbs. Butler William whipped up, "This is peak comfort. Why didn't we do this sooner?" Sarah totally dropped her cold goddess act and looked like a straight-up old man chilling, other than occasionally stealing my snacks. The only thing she moved were her toes. For real. Though, feels like the last 20 years were a total waste. Chloe was nodding along. I literally just want to lie here and rot like the rich heiress I am. They'd never even experienced this kind of foot spa-style soaking. Like, can't you guys just grab your own snacks? Watching them demolish the last 2 spicy sausages, I was low-key annoyed. I'm starting to think the system bound me to the wrong people. These 2 didn't look like those cold, aloof heiresses, obsessed with the fake brother at all. They were just 2 total hooligans. They went from refusing to even take a bite to not being able to stop. Seriously. Spicy snacks prove everyone's equal. Carter, you're closest to the food, Chloe said, smiling shamelessly. She held out her hand, begging for one more pack. Sweet and spicy Sarah, trying to be a bit more chill, just mumbled, "Give me the super spicy one." Looking at how shameless Chloe was and how shy Sarah acted, I was literally speechless. Like, sûr. This is fun. But how did I end up being a snack vending machine? Still, they were actually treating me well. Nothing like the trash sisters in the novel. Just as I was about to pass them the snacks, the theatre doors swung open. Light from the hallway spilled in, making the screen go blurry. The 3 of us looked over. Julian was standing there, looking absolutely shook. He couldn't believe we were this close. Second sister. Third sister. "What are you guys doing?" Still thinking he could fix things. Julian forced a smile. "I've been looking everywhere for you 2. He couldn't wrap his head around how, in less than a day, I'd stolen his sisters. Foot-soaking and watching soap operas, Chloe was being blunt. But Sarah was still a little hesitant to just cut him off. So she just asked, "Are you packed yet? Why are you even here?" Chloe grabbed the spicy sausage right out of my hand. She said it so coldly. Like, "Can't you see your brother is right here?" Since she was the first one to wake up to reality, Chloe's attitude had completely flipped. Maybe because she's an actress. But after dealing with so many fake-ass characters, she kept seeing Julian as one of them. And she was getting more disgusted by the second. I'm sorry, seeing how cold Chloe was. Julian immediately started playing the victim, hoping to get their attention. Too bad for him. Chloe just glanced at him and went back to watching the TV villain get absolutely wrecked. No need to apologize. I saw that look in Julian's eyes and just smiled brightly. If you're not done packing, you better get to it. It'd be a real pain if you forgot something tomorrow. Oh, and close the door on your way out. The light's blinding. I couldn't exactly wreck him yet, so I had to use other methods. After saying that, I just ignored him and went back to the movie. Damn it! Seeing both sisters ignore him made Julian totally panic. He'd already called for backup, but this was still the Lewis mansion. If nobody wanted him here, backup was basically useless. Julian. Get out, Sarah finally snapped. The light's ruining the movie. Seeing all three of us dismiss him, Julian gave me a death stare, walked out, and slammed the door. Bang! After hearing that slam, Chloe and I just shared a look and shrugged. Sarah was so into the movie she almost shoved a spicy sausage up her nose. A bit later, right as the movie was hitting its peak, there was a knock at the door. Second miss. Third miss. Young master. Sorry for the interruption. Butler William was standing there, probably taking a mental note of the movie title. Miss Coldwell is here. Madam wants the young master to head downstairs. He'd heard the movie from outside and figured it was probably a banger. When they heard Miss Coldwell, Sarah and Chloe both frowned. Bad vibes. So, Serena Coldwell is my fiancée. As soon as Chloe explained, I totally got their reaction. In your typical trope story, the fiancé usually says some trash like, I'll only marry Julian in this life. Right on cue, a notification popped up confirming exactly what I thought. Mission meet your fiancée. Serena Coldwell. After getting rejected in front of everyone, you got to cry like a total loser. Reward, advanced cooking skills. Reading that mission, my eyes lit up. Cry pathetically. Yeah, I can work with that. It gave me plenty of room to flex. System. Why am I getting the chills? Oh, right. Little brother, this marriage deal was locked in by the old heads before you were even born. Walking up to the living room, Sarah tugged my sleeve, looking super stressed. If things get heated, just stay quiet and let us handle it. Okay, she didn't want me catching any heat. Since the elders were involved, she was trying to keep it chill and peaceful. Don't sweat it. Sis, I've got this. I shut her down immediately. If I let someone else take the wheel, how was I supposed to pull off my master plan? Let him cook. Chloe pulled Sarah back, giving me that. Go get 'em. Look, she wanted to see what kind of fire her brother was packing. And if I choked, she definitely wouldn't just sit there and watch. Trust me. I'm him. We finally hit the top of the stairs. We could hear Julian and some girl yapping. Julian was all like, Serena. I'm fine. Just drop it. Serena. Don't worry. I'll get you justice, hearing this cringe fest. I looked at my sisters and started clowning. The bossy CEO and her soft little house husband. The roast was so accurate that both my sisters cracked up. The laughing caught everyone's attention in the room. Evelyn saw us and waved. Carter, get over here. This is Serena Coldwell, your arranged marriage fiancée. Aun die Evelyn. Julian is the one I'm supposed to be with. This Serena girl turned toward us. I guess this is the new young master. Let me be real. I'm not going through with this engagement. Her words were a straight-up public-face slap. The Lewis family was about to go off, but I cut them off. So, Miss Coldwell, you're saying you're ditching the engagement? A shady smile crept onto my face. In every fake young master story, Serena is that typical Ice Queen genius. She was a total 10. Fine features, long black hair, and that don't touch me vibe. A literal goddess. Yeah. I'm not marrying you. She looked confused because I seemed hyped, but she just nodded coldly. Let's be honest. You barely got back and already used trashy tricks to boot, Julian. Your character is mid. I, Serena Coldwell, will never be with a guy who has zero morals. She looked at the Lewis family, expecting them to feel bad. Instead, Their faces were just like, "Is this girl for real? Is she stupid?" Before she could yap more, I stepped up, kicked that loser Julian out of the way, grabbed her chin, and shoved my phone in her face. The system was like, "Bro, stop causing chaos. Chaos, isn't this pathetic crying? Did the mission say WHO had to cry? It didn't specify the person." I shut the system up and hit play on the video. Mid-band. I guess my character is just trash. Serena was stunned while Julian was dying on the floor. I let her go and just shrugged. Turns out, I think your brain is broken too. Marry me, girl. You're not even on my level. I backed off to give her space. Since we're both not feeling it. Go, tell your parents, the deal is off. A snake and a clown. Honestly, a perfect match. I'm not into getting cuckolded. Thanks. Getting cheated on isn't my vibe. So cutting this toxic drama out early is a win. Plus, my plan totally cleared the mission goals. No issues at all. Since she's the one dumping me, her parents owe us some major bank as compensation. Right. Wait. What even is this? After the video ended, Serena was shook. She looked at Julian on the floor. This isn't what you told me at all. Julian had told her some sob story about how I was bullying him and plotting to kick him out. But seeing the receipts, Julian started crying for real. Tears and snot everywhere. Man's cooked. He didn't expect me to go off script and just drop a tactical nuke on him. Weren't we supposed to argue first? Seeing Julian's gross face crawling toward her, Serena got the ick and backed up immediately. To Julian. That one step back was everything. Cue the sad violin music. Because he just got wrecked. Minor move. Massive emotional damage. I flexed on the system. See? Someone is crying pathetically while Julian was desperately trying to save face. I pulled out some snacks from my pocket, passed them to my sisters, and just enjoyed the show. The system was salty, but since I hit the mission requirements, it had no choice but to drop the loot. My head started itching again. Suddenly, all the skills of a world-class master chef flooded my brain, and the muscle memory totally cracked. This cheap system, right after giving me the goods, it started calling for backup. The fake young master is getting absolutely diffed. If it doesn't delete this video, how is that loser supposed to even compete? While the system was stressing, including Evelyn, who popped up out of nowhere, the four of us finished off all the snacks. All right. Miss Coldwell has made her point. I said, you can head out now. Oh, and toss those shells in the other bag on your way out. I cut them both off right there. We needed to eat. Honestly, as the big-shot heiress of the Coldwell family, you are definitely not going to stick around and beg for a meal. Right. Serena shot me the deadliest look ever, totally ignoring Julian, trying to explain himself, and stormed right out of the Lewis house. Talk about losing face. She officially had 0 good vibes for me after today. Serena. Wait! Don't go! Julian shouted, watching her leave. His heart straight up sank. This was not how it was supposed to go. She was supposed to act like a boss and cancel the engagement, and he would use his future Coldwell son-in-law card just to stay relevant. But now she was gone, and he was totally cooked, looking at Julian's pathetic face. Evelyn didn't hold back, and told the servants, pack his stuff. If it does not fit, trash it. He is moving into a rental by tonight. She used to care about him, so she was going to give him a fancy downtown apartment. But after this, if kicking him to the curb the second I returned did not look so bad for the family reputation, She would not have given him anything at all. "Mum, please." "No," Julian begged. But she just said, "Get him in the car first." Evelyn just waved him off. "Drag him out once his bags are ready." The servants did not miss a beat. "Yes, madam." Julian was screaming for them to let him go. But it was over, watching him get dragged away. Evelyn just rubbed her temples. Totally done. "Carter, do not worry about the Coldwells." She told me, "Mom will handle the engagement mess." Say, the two families were tight because of their grandfathers. Plus, they had major business ties. If Serena was going to be stubborn, Evelyn already had a plan B. But I just said, "No need. This is fine." Seeing my mother be such a savage, I smiled, shrugged, and then got serious. "Also, Mom, are you worried the Coldwell family might mess with our business over this, since they were backing me up?" I had to show them I was not just some dead weight. I needed to show I actually had a brain. You can choose to chill, but you cannot be a total loser. Feelings are a tricky thing. They can last forever or snap in a second, especially in a crazy drama like this one. I could not just be a yes man. Now that Julian was finally out, my plan was to just coast through the plot until the end. Then go back to my quiet, slacker life. Wait. You actually understand how this works? Evelyn was shocked, but curious. "Tell me, Carter, what is on your mind?" It was not some top-secret info. So, she stayed chill. I kept it simple. While the three Lewis family members were looking thoughtful, I dropped some truth. I told them straight up, instead of begging the Coldwells to talk, why not use this to see where they really stand? If we chase them, we look like the ones who messed up and might have to pay for it. But if we wait, we lose absolutely nothing. And we find out their true intentions. If they want to stay friends, they will come to us. If they do not, they were probably already planning to ditch us. Then we just prepare early and find better partners, unless Serena kept her mouth shut. But that was unlikely. In my past life, I ran a massive corporation. So my business game was on another level. I wanted to chill, but I was not an idiot. Hearing that, Evelyn's eyes lit up. "Brilliant. Let us do exactly as you say." She had been so worried about the relationship that she missed the big picture. My breakdown was a total wake-up call for her. She was starting to see her long-lost son in a whole new light. Maybe he was not as simple as he looked. "Carter, how did you even come up with that?" Chloe asked, looking at me like I was an alien. "Honestly, I think there is some ancient ghost living inside you. How else do you know so much?" "Sis, you have been watching way too many movies," I said, rolling my eyes. Then Sarah grabbed my arm. Maybe he is just a natural-born CEO. My sisters were totally off the mark this time. I just played it cool and said, "It is all over the news. Guys, you two should try reading it sometime." Both of them thought to themselves, "Yeah, I will definitely read the news." Next time, read the news. No way. Not in this lifetime. Seeing the three of us vibing together, Evelyn couldn't help but smile. She used to worry the siblings would not get along. But family is family. Meanwhile, back at the fish stall, old Arthur tucked away his bank card and looked at his fridge, which was now cleaner than his empty pockets. His smile faded, and he just shook his head. He grabbed his special belt and muttered, "Guess I need to level up my whip strikes. If I don't, I won't be able to keep up with that kid next time he shows up." The next day, on our way to a fancy country club, Evelyn made me dress to impress. I sat in the back, eyes closed, looking calm. But on the inside, I was absolutely going off on the system. Why? Because every single video of Julian face-slapping himself was gone. From my phone to the Lewis family hard drives. Everything just vanished. Only the system had the power to pull a move like that. I told it. System, I am wearing my headphones. I literally cannot hear you. Hit me. You idiot. I dare you. While I was beefing with the system, the car pulled up to the club. The massive debut party my grandfather planned was still a month away. So Evelyn brought me here today to get me into the elite circle first. As for Sarah and Chloe, they were busy transferring my records from that second-rate high school to the top-tier first high school. We took the elevator up to the Sky Garden on the rooftop, and a few rich socialites immediately headed our way. Seeing me standing next to Evelyn, a blonde lady looked curious and asked, "Evaine, who is this?" Usually, she'd have Julian with her. Bringing a fresh face today definitely turned some heads. Evelyn just smiled and pulled me forward to introduce me. "This is Carter, my other son I mentioned before," she said, "because of some stuff. He was living away for a while, but he just moved back to the city. They were keeping the whole swapped-at-birth drama on the low to protect the family name. Since they planned to keep raising Julian anyway." Evelyn didn't doubt his real identity and just claimed the family had 2 sons. I gave them a polite smile and said, "Hey, ladies." They all gushed over me instantly. "Oh, what a sweet kid, Evelyn. He is a total carbon copy of you when you were younger." Another one chimed in, "I think he looks more like Richard. Look at those eyes." After some small talk, Evelyn went off for a spa session with her friends, and I used the fake excuse of going downstairs to rest. My reasons were simple. 1, I am way too young to care about skincare. 2, their high-energy vibing was honestly suffocating. I just got downstairs, planning to find some snacks and just chill, when the system suddenly went, ding, heroine detected nearby. Mission triggered. Help the heroine meet the fraud. Young master. Reward. Mastery of every musical instrument. This mission was basically the system's final exam for me. If it had a real body, it would have grabbed me by the neck and screamed, "Please, I am begging you, just do the mission right. Quit trolling." Imorad, no wonder you were stalking me. After reading the prompt, I stopped and headed exactly where the system was pointing. Since I was chilling anyway, I figured I might as well have some fun. Honestly, I had so much space to cook here. Too bad the trash system refused to give me any law. So I knew zero about this heroine. If she turned out to be a snake like Julian, I'd definitely ship them together forever. Not far off, I finally spotted the legendary heroine. I have to admit, the visuals for a lead in these novels are god tier. She looked like she stepped straight out of a manga. Soft features, squishy cheeks, and long black hair. Her clear eyes made her look like a total innocent cinnamon roll, giving off major protect-at-all-costs energy. But she was in a bad spot. A group of mean girls was surrounding her. The prettiest one, holding a smoke, was trying to force it into the girl's mouth. The others formed a circle, looking ready to throw hands if she dared to say no. I shouted, "Drop it!" "No. Move aside." Using that MC diff, I flexed past the outer circle, grabbed the mean girl's wrist, and pulled the heroine behind me. The bully shook off my hand and glared, rubbing her arm like she was disgusted. A guy even touched her. I thought, is she into girls or something? I judged her in my head, then pulled out my phone with a bright smile. Bullying is cringe. If you don't want trouble, leave. Now, I already dialed 911. Trying to reason with these thugs only works 1% of the time. But threatening them with the cops, that bumps it up to 99%. With punks. Street smarts beat logic every time. That is what I learned, surviving in the chaotic fish markets. Hearing about the cops. The leader sneered. She muttered something to her squad and yelled, "Watch your back." You just got lucky. Then they vanished down the alley. Kids these days are so gullible. They believe anything. Watching them run. I curled my lip and turned to the girl behind me. "You okay?" She looked up, head slightly tilted, looking silly but adorable. This heroine isn't just some sweet girl. She is an actual angel. Seeing her look so fragile and pitiful, I made my call. "They are gone." I said, "Do you need me to call your family?" She stared at me with those clear eyes, smiling like a dork. "My family isn't here. But thank you anyway." Her voice was so soft and sweet. It was heart-melting. "Yep, definitely a sweet summer child." I told her, "No need to thank me. But next time this happens, you have to stand your ground. Otherwise, they will just keep pressing you. You get it. Bullying is trash behavior, no matter how old you are." Even knowing she was the heroine, I couldn't help but give her some advice. "I know." She nodded obediently. "I will remember what you said." I nodded back. "Good. Since we met by chance, let me buy you a boba." 30 minutes later, I was casually sipping my boba as I walked back into the club. MC life is good. Kids these days will believe literally anything. I watched them scramble away like total trash, curled my lip, and turned back to the girl. "You good?" I asked. She looked up at me with her head down, looking low-key, silly, but honestly adorable. This female lead isn't just some sweet girl next door. She is a straight-up white lotus. Watching her act all fragile and pitiful, I already had her figured out. They are gone now. I told her, "You want me to call your fam," she just said. "My family isn't here." She stared at me with those clear eyes, smiling like a total airhead. "But thank you anyway," she whispered. Her voice was so soft and sweet. It actually made my heart skip a beat. Yep, she is definitely the ultimate sweet girl trope. "No need to thank me," I said, "but next time those losers try something, remember to fight back. Otherwise, they will just keep pushing you around. You get me? Bullying is mid as hell, no matter how old you are." Even though I knew she was the female lead, I couldn't help giving her that MC energy. "I know," she said, nodding like a good little student. "I will remember everything you told me." I just nodded back. I guess meeting like this is just fate. "Come on, let me buy you a milk tea." 30 minutes later, I am casually sipping my boba and vibing as I walk back into the club. No way. I am actually such a dog for this. Watching the system have a total meltdown while I just vibe with my boba. Zero chills. So, did I clear the mission? Or what, bro? If the system had a physical body, it would have definitely caught these hands for sure. System is fuming. It told me to help the female lead meet the fake young master. But I showed her a picture of Julian instead. Total plot twist. And get this. It was a black and white photo. Like, is he dead? The system is heated? But he just has to swallow that L. Technically, they met. I asked the system, "Are you my mum, or are you just going through early menopause?" Curiosity killed the cat. I guess, do systems even have genders? Do you guys have kids? Do they have to work right away? Is not that child labor? The system was so done with my yapping, it probably wanted to delete itself. The system straight up gave up. Dealing with me is harder than listening to 1,000 monks chanting at the same time. Cut to a barbecue stall near the alley. This girl is happily vibing, munching on skewers while making a call. "Help me arrange a school transfer in a few days. I want to." Fast forward a few days later, We are in the office of Class 12, at First High School. Carter. I am headed out. Sarah stands there giving the peace sign and a bright smile. Classic. If you need anything you cannot solve, call me or the family. We got you. I just nodded. I know. Second sister. Go do your thing. Back then, I was not really a scholar, so I was stuck at a mid-tier second high school. Evelyn used her connections to get me into this elite first high. She claimed the teachers here are on another level. That heavy motherly love is a lot to handle. Before I got my memories back, I was barely surviving at second high. After awakening, I had zero interest in books. If it were not for Old Man Arthur's 7-star belt, my grades would have hit rock bottom by now. At first high, my grades are definitely going to nosedive. But honestly, I am only here because of the system. Just like the Lewis family home, this school is a major event spot. If old Arthur finds out I ditched, just thinking about my butt getting shattered into 8 pieces makes me shudder. Absolute nightmare fuel. All right. If it feels weird, let me know. Sarah pats my shoulder and leaves. The teacher goes. Student Carter. Take a seat for a second. After Sarah left, the middle-aged teacher said, There is another transfer student today besides you. You two should get to know each other. She did not want me to be a loner. She wanted me to make a friend, so I would at least have someone to talk to. Yes, ma'am. I gave her that obedient smile, sitting there looking at the dead system in my head. Isaiah. Why so stingy? Just show me the plot already. It would not kill you. System. Hello? Can you hear me? L-A-L-A-L-A. Just as I was about to keep pestering it, the door swings open. A girl with a backpack walks in. What a coincidence. Hearing that soft, familiar voice, I looked up. I waved and smiled. So the other transfer is you, Sophie. Seeing Sophie Thomas here was not a shocker. This place is an event hotspot. So, of course, the female lead shows up, but I did not expect her to be a transfer too, and definitely did not expect us to be classmates. Sophie reached out her hand. Please, take care of me from now on. I shook her soft hand and smiled. Let us take care of each other. Half an hour later, in the back of Class 12-1, the bell rings. I rubbed my aching head. As expected. This place is built different. The curriculum here is insane compared to second high. Everything the teacher said sounded familiar, but I had zero clue what was actually happening. Worst part, my former fiancée, Serena, is also in this class. She is at the front, and I am stuck in the back. Between the college entrance exam pressure and everyone already having their cliques, nobody came to talk to us, new kids. While I am packing my books, a soft, nervous voice comes from right next to me. I turned and saw a pair of clear, sparkling dark eyes. She did not look away. She just smiled and pointed at a problem in my workbook. You solved this one wrong? She rested her cheek on her hand, her peach blossom eyes curving into little crescents. Her baby fat makes her look so pure, like a blooming flower. What is wrong? Seeing me stare. Sophie shyly looked down. Her voice was barely a whisper. Did I say something wrong? Oh, man. This female lead is toxic. How is she this attractive? I awkwardly bit my lip and pointed at the book. You are right. Could you explain this one to me? Sûr? Sophie looked up and moved the workbook between us. Once she started explaining, the vibe got better. The awkwardness faded away. I have to admit, she explained, every step like a pro. She was so patient, breaking down the methods and logic. So the answer is basically this. Do you get it? She looked at me with those puppy dog eyes. I nodded, trying to look serious. Basically, I could not exactly tell her. I was too busy staring at her to hear a single word she said. She caught the hesitation in my voice. Sophie giggled, covering her mouth. Do you want me to help you review? I did not answer right away, weighing the struggle of studying against the fatherly love of old Arthur's belt. I decisively chose the books. All right. I gave her a head pat while she was tutoring me, told her straight up that as long as I am here, nobody touches her. Memorizing lit and bio was easy, but math and physics, absolute nightmare to do solo. So she is the female lead. Who cares? The system is basically ghosting me anyway. And it never said the real heir can't talk to her. Plus, hanging out with a girl as sweet and pure as Sophie is, a total win. I made that promise because I spotted a bully leader in the hall earlier. Standard Manhwa tropes. You know the drill. That gang is just low-tier fodder, meant to harass her, so the fake heir can play hero. Sophie blushes hard from the head pat and looks up. She asks if I'm really going to protect her like last time. I joked around, telling her to just stick with me and I'll keep her fed and happy every single day. It's senior year. Second semester. Unless someone has a screw loose. Nobody wants smoke right now. Protecting her at school, piece of cake. She smiles and says, She's counting on me. She is so pure. She must have been a target before, thinking of those trashy novel tropes. I felt a bit bad for her. I was about to say something, when the quiet classroom suddenly goes wild with chatter. Julian's here. He walks in, looking for Serena, with hands full of bubble tea. Bro bought bubble tea for the whole class. As a back-to-school gift, everyone's acting like he's some generous saint. He hands one to Serena, acting all sweet. Even after getting kicked out, he's still trying to flex. Turns out, his older sister Fiona is backing him from overseas. She sent him $5 million in pocket money. Bro is back to living large, like nothing happened. He was broke 2 seconds ago because his cards were cut. But now he's rich again. He's been manipulating Serena with that soft boy act for a few days now. It worked. She's acting normal with him again, at least on the surface. He came today to mark his territory and mess with me. He thinks he can run the school, since I'm making his life hell at home. He's terrified I'll steal Serena. Bro is paranoid for no reason. I said I didn't want the engagement, but he thinks I'm playing some long game. He needs her family as a backup. Serena takes the tea. But you can tell she's hesitant. She hates the attention. She only puts up with him because they grew up together. She felt bad for him getting kicked out, even if she knows he's trash. 10 years of friendship is hard to drop. She accepts the tea just to save his face. Julian gives me this trashy smirk from the front of the room. But then he spots Sophie sitting right next to me. He sees how gorgeous she is, and immediately starts cooking up a trashy plan. He brings a tea over, and tries to act all cool. He tells her my temper is bad, and it must be hard for her. He thinks, since he's back with Serena, he doesn't have to fear my video anymore. With $5 million in the bank, he's feeling himself again and dares to provoke me. But Sophie just hides behind me, grabbing my shirt like she's terrified. She's playing the damsel role perfectly. She calls him out for being a fake green tea snake. I pat her hand and tell Julian, the projector here is great for playing videos. I ask if I should test my Bluetooth connection. If he wants to play games, I'm down. He thinks some dog deleted the proof. But I'm just messing with his head. He panics for a second, then realizes I haven't played it yet. He thinks I'm bluffing. A smug little smirk pops up on his face. Then he intentionally drops the milk tea all over his own designer gear. Splash. He starts crying about how I'm bullying him just because I don't like him. The whole class turns around. Bro is really putting on an Oscar performance. Now, everyone is looking at me like I'm the villain. They've known him longer, so they take his side. The people he bought off start talking trash. They can't believe the handsome new guy is a bully. Just wait. Big Boss is about to handle this. Why is this dude crying like a total baby? Hearing the whispers. I just stayed chill. resting my chin on my hand. I was just watching him like a show. You keep saying I'm the bully? Tell me. How did I touch you? If he wanted to play for clout, I'd give him a whole circus. Trying to cancel me, let's see who gets burned first. I didn't give a damn about being popular, but I definitely wasn't taking his trash lying down. Why? Why are you forcing me? Seeing Serena coming. Julian secretly pinches the hell out of his own arm. He drops his head, looking all hurt. Got to hand it to him. He's basically the final boss of being a fake snake. Serena hits the back row, seeing his red eyes and the mark on his arm. Her face goes cold. Carter, you've gone way too far, Julian. Just wanted to make peace. Why are you like this? Her words basically pinned the bully label on me, right there. If I take the bait now, the whole class is going to turn on me. Miss Coldwell, how exactly did I treat him? I stand up, looking down at both of them. Since I'd been working at the fish stall for old Arthur, I was a solid 6 feet tall. My build was imposing. It made the whispering students go dead silent. Most of these kids are selfish, especially in senior year. Nobody wants to tank their grades. Not for some random dude. Anyway. Well, what? Now, seeing me stand up like that, Julian straight up cowards out, taking 2 steps back and hiding behind Serena. If you dare touch me, my sister will end you when she gets back. Did I say I was going to touch you? I just smirk at him cowering behind Serena. I just want to clear the air. But for real. Hiding behind a girl. Are you serious right now? I didn't think he'd actually pull such a weak move. What kind of dude lets a girl fight his battles? Hearing that, Serena suddenly pauses. She felt him push her forward just a second ago. Between that and him hiding behind her, her expression looks disgusted. Seeing her face shift, Julian starts scrambling for an excuse. Stop framing me. I just slipped on the tee and took a few steps back by accident. Why are you always picking on me? Convenient timing for a slip. Right when I stood up. I laugh, but your memory is trash. Look over there. What's that? I point my finger. Julian's face turns pale. Right there in the corner, a shiny security camera is hanging for everyone to see. Since when was that there? It wasn't there last term. So, want to hit the security room and check the footage? I act all hyped to see it. If you're busy, I'll go grab the file myself. Honestly, I didn't think he was this dumb. Losing once at the Lewis house wasn't enough for him. He really tried the same stunt at school. Meeting my eyes, Julian knows he needs to change the subject fast. He ignores me and starts crying. Carter, it's senior year. We're in the home stretch. I don't want to ruin your grades. But please, just stop bullying me. I just want to study in peace. This move makes him look like a saint while painting me as a long-time bully. 2 birds. 1 stone, so self-righteous. Just as I'm about to shut him down, a soft voice speaks up. Why do you keep saying Carter bullied you? You literally spilled that tea yourself and pinched your own arm on purpose. Sophie's voice was like a bomb going off in the silence. The classroom erupts, compared to me, who obviously has beef with Julian. Sophie is way too pure and innocent to ever lie about something like this. She just got her tea, and she saw the whole thing. It's a total wrap for Julian. This girl is full of surprises. I look over at Sophie, who's nervously gripping her shirt. I'm actually shocked. I thought she'd stay quiet, but she just landed a critical hit at the perfect time. No way. Hearing everyone whispering, Julian gives Sophie a forced smile. Carter clearly did it. If he's threatening you, just say so. We've got your back. He's used this fake charm on so many girls. He's betting it'll work on Sophie too. If she flips her story, I'd be totally cooked. I'm telling the truth, Carter didn't force me. Ignoring Julian's cringe-worthy smile, Sophie says timidly, "If you don't believe me, check the cameras. And please, stop smiling at me like that." Her voice is soft, but you can hear the fear. Anyone with eyes can see she's terrified. Julian might snap. I quietly move to shield her. "You talk too much. Just check the footage." His whole plan is falling apart, with me pressing for the cameras. Julian starts panicking. He knows he can't let anyone see that footage, or his nice guy mask is going to shatter. He grits his teeth and turns to bolt. He has to get to the security room right now. If there's evidence, he needs to delete it fast. Remembering how I wrecked him with one video, back at the Lewis house, he literally shudders. As Julian runs off, the whole class is just standing there, completely shook. Nobody's stupid. Julian running away basically proved Sophie was right. Thinking about how he staged the whole thing, just to frame me. The way they look at him now has completely changed. These kids haven't seen the real world yet. Those kids were naive. But Julian's little setup backfired and woke them all up. I told him to take his time watching his own pathetic walk of shame while I pointed at the hidden camera in the back. I almost forgot to tell you. This camera isn't even recording yet. So no need to rush to delete the footage like you did last time. When it comes to psychological warfare, I'm basically the GOAT. Now that the system was playing dead, I could do whatever I wanted as long as I didn't break its rules. Julian didn't say a word. He just froze, balled his fists, and booked it out of the classroom. "Miss Coldwell, you got anything else?" After he dipped, I looked over at Serena, who was still just standing there. All that arrogance in her eyes totally gone. She definitely didn't see this plot twist coming. Between this and what happened at the Lewis house, this was the second time Julian had used her like a tool, thinking about how she'd mocked me twice already. Serena just lowered her head, looking completely embarrassed. She gave a small bow and said she was sorry for the misunderstanding. I was actually surprised she apologized, but I stayed relaxed and kept my cool. "It's whatever. But you need to keep Julian on a tighter leash. Him acting up like this is seriously annoying." Serena had no idea how to even respond to that. After these two incidents, she was starting to realize Julian was nothing like the sweet guy she remembered from back in the day. The massive contrast had her heart in total chaos. Watching her walk away, a little smirk hit my lips. In these typical tropes, the fake young master's biggest carry at school is always his fiancée. But now that Serena was showing signs of jumping ship, Julian was about to have zero backup here. Right then, my sixth sense gave me a literal chill. I turned around and saw Sophie wasn't smiling anymore. Her clear eyes had this rare look of sadness, like a bride left at the altar on her wedding night. The second she realized I was looking, she quickly turned away and gave me the cold shoulder. Is this girl actually jealous because I was talking to Serena, seeing her pout like that? I held back a laugh and gently poked her arm. "You did great just now, so I'm going to give you a reward." Hearing the word reward, Sophie stopped and turned back, and that silly smile returned. Her eyes were literally sparkling with excitement. She reached her hand out, and I reached into my pocket to drop something in her palm. "Whenever you're feeling down, eat something sweet. It'll make you feel way better." Since I was planning on grinding some study hours, I brought some candy to keep my energy up. Candy. Seeing the candy. Sophie's eyes totally lit up. She carefully tucked it into her pocket with a radiant smile. "Thank you. Carter, you're the first person to ever give me candy." Seeing her treat it like a legendary item, I couldn't help but imagine her being bullied before. She probably didn't have an easy life. When you're that pretty and soft-spoken, it's common for other girls to isolate you. Don't even worry about it. You'll have plenty of candy from now on. I looked her right in the eyes and told her seriously. As long as I'm here, nobody is going to bully you. I believe you. Sophie nodded with a smile. Then she suddenly remembered something and asked softly, "Oh? Carter. That guy from earlier. Is he the one in the picture on your phone? Why would he try to frame you like that, looking into those innocent eyes of hers?" I decided not to tell her the ugly truth. Just think of him like a toad. He doesn't bite. But he's definitely disgusting. Just make sure you stay far away from him from now on. Understand, do you? A toad gross. Sophie actually shivered while rubbing her arms. She gave a serious nod and said she'd listen to me. Seeing her act so silly, I couldn't help but give her a little head pat. You can't just believe everything people say in the future, or you're going to get sold off before you know it. Would you ever sell me? Meeting her gaze. I looked away real quick. I was just giving an example. All right, just an example. Meh. You get it, seeing my awkwardness. Sophie gave me a knowing smile. Carter wouldn't sell me anyway. Since we have some time, let's go over the lessons. I have to admit, Sophie's charm was on another level. Even though I swore to lock my heart after getting scammed out of $5,000 in an online romance in my past life, I was actually starting to feel something. All right, let's do this. Teacher Sophie. She really did have a talent for teaching. Whenever I got stuck or messed up a problem, she spotted the issue instantly. She explained everything so simply. Seriously, if our math teacher taught like her, nobody would ever fall asleep in class. Time flew by, and the school day was over. Here, this is for you. If there's anything you don't get, just hit me up. Sophie turned bright red, shoved a piece of paper into my hand, and sprinted out of the classroom. Man, this girl is something else. Looking at the paper with her contact number and social media handle, a soft smile touched my lips. On the way home, I noticed Butler William looking a bit hesitant. I put my notes down and told him to just say what was on his mind. The old butler had checked on me at least 10 times since we got in the car. Young master, you really don't miss a thing. Since he was caught, Butler William gave a little awkward chuckle before speaking his mind. The eldest daughter, Fiona, has returned, and I just got some news about young Master Julian, even though he hadn't known me long, as a pro-butler. He noticed the whole vibe of the Lewis family had shifted. If Julian used to be the centre of the universe here, now that was me. Plus, unlike Julian, I never lost my temper with the staff. Just yesterday, when Mrs. Wu accidentally broke a glass, I even helped her clean it up. Because of that, he wanted to give me a heads up so I could be ready. Eldest sister Fiona. I quickly started scrolling through everything I knew about her. Fiona, this Harvard finance grad, is the big boss at the Louis family company now. Best part, just like her sisters, she is single. Based on the timeline, she was the first one to totally simp for Julian, but I already got a counterplan. If she really teams up with Julian, I won't even have to lift a finger. Richard and Evelyn are going to give Julian a taste of that tough love for me. Anyway, I get back to the villa, and the second I walk in, I hear a massive argument. Mom, everyone makes mistakes. Just give Julian one more shot. He's lived with us for years. You can't just throw him out, because the real brother came back. It's Fiona. She's begging. Mom, please, just use that one. Wish you promised me. The one for when I turned 18. I walk into the living room, and the vibe is crazy. There's a girl in a business suit facing off with Evelyn. She looks like the other sisters. So that's definitely the oldest one, Fiona. And right behind her, Julian, looking like a total victim. Chloe and Sarah are there too. Mom, if Big Sis is asking, just say yes. Your health is more important. I see the play and walk over to pat Evelyn's back. Mom? She's right. Your health comes first. Everything else can wait. Look, I know the tropes. Even if I block Julian now, he'll find a way back eventually. Instead of fighting it, I'm taking the moral high ground. Plus, if he's not here, how am I going to get the chance to delete him for good Carter? You're back. Evelyn calms down. The second she feels me there, she holds my hand like she's so sorry. Honestly, Fiona and I are both her biological kids. It's a tough spot for her. She only said no to Fiona because she didn't want to hurt me. But now that I gave the green light, she's just going with the flow. It's fine. Mom, your health is the only thing that matters. I just smile at her. Then I look at Fiona. She's totally obsessed with Julian. I just shake my head and help Mom get out of there. If I'm right, things are about to get spicy. Fiona is Julian's last lifeline. He's gonna milk that for all it's worth, and from her face, she doesn't just love him like a brother. Yikes! You've got one snake and one emotional wreck. What could go wrong? But Chloe and Sarah don't get the plan. They see me just walk away, and they're hurting for me. Sister, if you're doing way too much this time. Sarah bites her lip at Fiona and then runs after us. Julian, you're on your own. Chloe gives him a death stare and bails. In their minds, if Julian hadn't come crawling back, none of this drama would be happening. They're totally disgusted by him. Should I just leave? Julian's watching them leave and probably wants to run them over. But he puts on his best miserable face. Mom, sisters. It's okay, Julian. Big Sis is here. Fiona pats his head and smiles. Go back to your room. I already had it cleaned up for you. Thanks, Sis. I love you the most. Julian gives her a big hug. Fiona doesn't even pull away. There's a weird look in her eyes for a second. 30 minutes later at dinner. I'm sitting right across from her. Fiona looks at me and says softly, Carter, Julian was just scared of you coming back. That's why he acted out. He didn't mean to frame you with that video. I heard about it from the girls. I'm sorry for him. She's sharp. She knows what happened. But Julian probably cried to her, and she totally fell for it. Still, because I'm being so chill, she can't even find a reason to hate me. You don't have to tell me all that. You just hold up a hand to stop her. It's over. Let's not talk about it. You should be worried about apologizing to Mom. Not me. What she really wanted to say was, hey, don't target Julian. Leave him alone. If Julian hadn't been such trash, she would have been way harsher. Since I'm not playing her game, she just sighs. Anyway, I'm sorry for what he did. She's really simping for him. But whatever, it's not your fault. I just lean back and smile. Instead of that drama, tell me about your time abroad. Anything cool happen? Look, if she was some evil big sister trying to flex on me, I would have folded her. But she actually knows right from wrong. No need to go God mode yet. I got other plans. Tell me about the trip. Fiona finally relaxes. Actually, there was one thing, but she doesn't notice those venomous eyes watching us from the hallway. Julian is absolutely fuming. 10 minutes later, Richard finally sat down and the food started coming out. Fiona and I were actually chill for once. So the previous tension totally vanished. At the end of the day, the Lewis family just didn't want to see their kids beefing with each other. When the table was almost full, Fiona noticed that empty chair next to her. She asked the servant, Hey, where is Julian? Why has he not come down to eat? The second Julian's name dropped. The harmonious vibe went dead. Everyone's eyes zipped straight to me like I was the main character. The servant looked stressed out, worried I was about to blow up. She kept glancing at me, biting her lip like she had tea, but was too scared to spill it. Just as she gathered the courage to speak, I cut her off. Were you going to say the young master is busy? You were going to say Julian is in a bad mood and does not want to eat. I gave Fiona a look to make sure she understood the situation. He was dodging dinner because of me. When I said it that coldly, the servant just froze like a statue. She tried to play it off and said, "No, that is not it." I just leaned in and said, "Okay then, tell us the real reason. He is not coming down." I rested my chin on my hand, just staring her down. The whole family was watching her, and she started panicking. If she had not taken bribes from that trash Julian, she would not even be in this mess. But I called her out, and she had zero comeback. Seeing how guilty she looked, it was game over. Everyone realized I was spitting facts. Their annoyance with Julian was hitting a whole new level by sister. "See why I did not want him back?" Chloe glared at the servant, then looked at Fiona, who was just sitting there silent. "If you do not want him ruining this family, you need to make him leave." Everyone was staring at Fiona, waiting for her move. Fiona tried to say something, but the words would not come. That servant's reaction leaked everything. Julian's game was just too obvious. Fine. Big sister. I just hope you keep him on a short leash. I shut down the arguing before it got out of hand. I just shook my head, laughing at how pathetic it was. Dealing with that guy is like stepping on a toad. It won't bite you, but it is still gross as hell. I knew pressuring Fiona right now would be useless. She was not going to kick Julian out over one little stunt. Instead of dragging this out, it was better to push my plan forward. Fiona looked at me and said, "I am so sorry. Carter, she said she would go find him right now." She gave me a grateful look, stood up, and headed upstairs. All right. Let's just eat." Evelyn clapped her hands as she watched Fiona walk away. "The food is going to get cold if we keep waiting." Chloe, Sarah, and I all nodded and finally dug in. Richard stayed calm as an old dog the whole time. To him, Julian's drama was not even worth his attention. Once Fiona left, the vibe in the room got chill again. I knew the timing was perfect. I took a bite and asked Chloe, "Hey, third sister, how are those movies you recommended?" Sarah piped up. "Wait, movies? You guys are watching stuff behind my back again." Sarah was salty. She thought this was a group thing. She was like, "Why am I always the one left out? Secret watching? Nah." Chloe just shrugged. "I just finished the last one. But honestly, compared to the rest, this one is a total brain rot. I mean, in what world does a sister fall for her brother and go against her whole family to be with him?" Chloe did not mean anything by it, but everyone else took it personally. The entire Lewis family instantly looked up at the second floor. Chloe realized the vibe changed and gasped. She muttered, "No way. That cannot be right." But based on how these plots go, when Fiona goes to find Julian, they might accidentally hug because they are clumsy, and then accidentally kiss. Chloe definitely was not whispering. That was it for my parents. They lost their appetites instantly, jumped up, and sprinted upstairs. Big sister would not actually do that. "Right." Sarah looked nervous as she watched Mom and Dad run off. She did not have to finish the sentence. Chloe and I knew exactly what she meant. I said, "Let's go see. It is too weird to just sit here eating." I headed for the stairs. Ever since the day I found out Fiona had feelings for that loser Julian, I had been prepping for this exact moment, but I was not planning to end Julian's career with just one simple trick. Julian might be brainless, but Fiona is not an idiot. She would not do something that wild right now. This was just the appetizer. I had a whole series of big gift packages ready for him. But man, I really underestimated the power of a lovesick brain. As we hit the second floor, a massive slap echoed. Then came the screaming. Richard and Evelyn were losing it. Get out of the Lewis house right now. Richard was roaring, and Evelyn was straight up cursing him out. How dare you, Mum? Dad? Just listen to me. It is not what you think. Julian was panicking. I heard the chaos and just looked at Chloe. Looks like the joke is on you. Tis. Congrats on becoming a prophet. Chloe just gave a weak smile and said, Thanks. 10 minutes later, in the living room, the servants had quietly vanished, leaving just the Lewis family members to deal with the mess. Julian and Fiona were kneeling right in the middle of the room, just waiting for the hammer to drop. Julian was one thing, but Fiona looked way worse. She had a slap mark on her face, messy hair, and footprints all over her clothes, because she actually used her own body to shield that trash. Julian from Richard's absolute fury. She looked at her furious parents and dropped the bomb. Mom, Dad, since Julian isn't actually related to us by blood, then he and I, looking at her parents who were about to explode. Fiona didn't dare finish that sentence, but everyone knew exactly what she was implying. Basically, no blood relation means it is fair game for them to be together. Right. Meanwhile, Julian was acting like a total coward, just hiding his head like a turtle, looking at her oldest daughter, who clearly wasn't sorry at all. Evelyn clutched her chest like she was about to pass out. Mom, calm down. I jumped in fast to support her and grabbed her heart meds from her pocket immediately. I gave her the pill and told her not to get worked up, saying I would handle talking to my sister. Honestly, Julian just handed me the perfect assist. If I didn't keep this act going now, I would be wasting his total lack of self-awareness. After she took the pill, Evelyn just stared at her daughter with pure disappointment. This was the kid they once had the highest hopes for. And now she just slumped onto the sofa, with me helping out. Richard wanted to lay into them some more, but he stayed by his wife's side to make sure she was okay. I looked at the battered Fiona, placed a cushion under her knees to act like the nice brother, and whispered, Big sis, you need to think clearly. I told her it was crazy to have feelings for someone she grew up with as a brother since childhood. I let the sentence hang there, but the point hit home. Falling for your own brother. Just thinking about it is wild. If the vibe wasn't so heavy, Sarah would have definitely joked about how this drama is straight out of a movie. Thank you. Carter, she whispered, her eyes welling up with tears, just because I gave her a cushion. Being kind when someone is at rock bottom always hits different. She started rambling about how she had cared for Julian since he was a little kid. She told me she used to secretly pray he wasn't her biological brother before she actually found out they weren't related by blood. She tried to suppress those feelings for so long. Even when they went upstairs earlier, she hadn't totally made up her mind yet. But then Julian hugged her and said he was scared they would take her away. And her brain just short-circuited. If it wasn't for that, with how smart she usually is, there is no way she would have planned to do that in her room at a time like this. I held her shoulders and asked her seriously if she had ever seen a therapist about this. I pointed out that their age gap is huge. When Julian was just a toddler, she was already in elementary school. Their social circles and lives shouldn't have even crossed like that. I kept up the concerned act, and it was working perfectly. Fiona turned her face away, her voice barely a whisper. She said she wanted to give up, but Julian was just too good to her. She said she couldn't do it. And right on cue, Julian stopped playing dead and jumped in. He put on this pathetic, innocent face, like he was some victim who didn't know his actions had major consequences. His words were so manipulative, and Fiona just lowered her head in shame, thinking she had somehow ruined her brother's pure care. We were almost there. I just needed to add a little more fuel to the fire. It was time for the final blow to my sister's logic. I looked at her and asked the real question. Every time you tried to quit, Did Julian make you feel like he felt the same way? I went further, asking if he quote-unquote accidentally touched her in ways that siblings definitely shouldn't. Fiona looked up, completely shocked. How did you know? She asked. Julian's face went ghost white instantly, before he could even try to lie his way out. Evelyn marched over and slapped him across the face so hard. Can't you see? He was literally seducing you, Evelyn yelled, looking at her stunned daughter with total disgust. Richard didn't miss a beat. He called for the guards and told them to drag this bastard out of here right now. Julian started begging, screaming for them not to kick him out. But I shut him up with a massive slap to the face. Shut your mouth. You absolute scum, I yelled. Big Sis was so good to you, and you spent the whole time plotting against her. I hit him so hard his cheek swelled up immediately and a tooth literally flew out of his mouth. He crashed to the floor. Fiona panicked and grabbed my arm to stop me, sobbing and begging me not to hit him again. She actually claimed it was her fault too. Talk about a pure love warrior. Even knowing he played her, she couldn't let go. I told her I would spare him this one time just for her. Then I helped her up. I told her I would take her upstairs. But seeing her being stubborn, Evelyn lost it and screamed at her to get moving. She asked if Fiona was trying to kill her mother with stress before she was finally satisfied. Fiona just sobbed and agreed to go with me. 30 minutes later, things finally calmed down. I was out in the garden, on the swing, listening to horror stories on my phone and catching up with old Arthur about everything that happened. I kept the details about tonight low-key. Some things just shouldn't be leaked. Silence was a total win for the Lewis family, and old Arthur, plus Julian, was his real son. I didn't want him catching feelings over Fiona getting wrecked. After the talk, everyone agreed to keep Fiona grounded. She stays locked up until she gets a reality check. As for Julian, he got the boot from the parents again, but unlike last time when he had a ride, now he's walking or calling a cab, looking up at the stars. I'm feeling a little bit like the villain. I put my phone down and started trolling the system. Hey, are you sure you're not a villain, system? Does this mean I'm officially the bad guy now? System is straight up ghosting me. Honestly, scheming against my sister gave me a tiny bit of guilt, but this move basically saved her from a dead-end path. Julian was nothing but a worthless green tea trash bag, while I was vibing with old Arthur. Sarah and Chloe came out to check on me, led by a servant. They wanted to sneak up and jump-scare me, but they heard my phone and started eavesdropping. Right when the cop in the story was about to bounce, a little girl in red suddenly popped up behind him. She was holding the victim's skull that had been missing for days. He, Mister, are you looking for this? The girl smiled at the stunned cop, while holding up that rotting skull. This ball is broken. Let me have yours. He, before he could even blink, the cop realized the girl had vanished into thin air. While he was looking around, a chilling laugh echoed in his ear. Mister, your ball belongs to me now. Hearing that story in the dark garden, Chloe and Sarah turned ghost white. They instinctively grabbed each other tight. Their noise caught my attention. Seeing them hugging and making eye contact, I slowly turned away and said, Don't sweat it. I swear I won't snitch to Mum and Dad. But you two should be careful doing this. We're at home. What if they come out for a walk? In my head, I was judging them hard. I thought you two were normal. Who knew you were the deepest closeted Yuri couple? If I hadn't accidentally caught you tonight, I never would have guessed. Not even if you beat me to death. Hearing my nonsense, the sisters completely froze. Chloe snapped out of it first, pushing Sarah away awkwardly. You little brat. What are you even thinking? We only hugged because we heard you listening to that creepy ghost story. In the middle of the night, Sarah was a bit slower, but also rushed to explain. Yeah, you just scared the life out of us. Whether they actually had something going on or not. They wouldn't dare act up now, especially after seeing how fast their parents snapped tonight. Sarah knew for a fact that if she and Chloe were actually a thing, they'd be locked up in the city's strictest boot camp within 1 hour. They just wanted to chill, seeing them explain it so seriously. I didn't push it, and asked, So, second sister, third sister, why did you guys come out here anyway, even if they were a thing? It wasn't my business to handle. Instead of forcing them, it was better to let them be free. This kid definitely doesn't believe a word we're saying. Chloe gave me a helpless glare and dragged Sarah to sit on both sides of the swing. We were worried you were feeling down, so we came to cheer you up. Over time, she didn't even feel that awkwardness anymore. Sometimes she wondered if there really was a special bond between siblings. Otherwise, how could we get this close in just half a month? Don't worry. I'm not that fragile. Seeing their worried faces, I just smiled and waved it off. If my heart was that weak, I would have dropped dead the second I came back. Meeting my real parents after 10 years only to find out there was no room for me. If I didn't have this adult mindset, my heart would have turned to ice a long time ago. If I were the original Carter from the story, I wouldn't be sitting on a swing vibing with my sisters right now. I'd be rotting in a basement or a closet, taking the family's insults and Julian's green tea bullying. Let's just forget about that day. Hearing me. Bring it up. Chloe scratched her head, feeling super awkward. She hadn't forgotten our first meeting. She took the chance to ask the question she'd been dying to know. Carter, when you first came home, did you already know Julian was a snake? In her eyes, anyone new would try to fit in, but I completely wrecked the Lewis family's whole vibe. I couldn't exactly tell her the truth. I knew all the fake young master tropes, so I thought for a second and gave her a solid excuse. At the time, I just thought he was a green tea manipulator. He was constantly trying to frame me. When he took me to my room, I knew for sure his head was messed up. Chloe nodded like she finally got it. I see. No wonder you went from fighting everyone to only targeting him. Not exactly. I smiled at them from the swing. It's because you guys actually treated me well. If you two were the typical evil sisters you see in movies, I'd probably still be playing 4D chess against you right now. Sarah's losing it right now, laughing her head off. Evil sisters? No way she just said that. Chloe's over there, pouting like a whole baby. Looks like it's time for a reality check. What are you guys even planning? Just a heads up. I'm built different. Stop tickling me. I surrender. No cap. The garden was pure vibes, with all that laughter. But meanwhile, up on the second floor, Fiona was watching the three of us vibing in the garden and thinking about Julian's moves tonight. She bit her lip, whispering, Was I actually the one who messed up? 11 p.m. in my room on the second floor, after the great garden war with my sisters. I finally hopped in the shower. I'm just spread-eagled on my massive 3x3-meter bed. Absolute unit of a bed. Then it hits me. I almost forgot about that shy girl. I sat up and pulled that paper with her info out of my uniform pocket. Finally found Sophie's socials, sent that friend request. Julian's random stunt tonight totally wiped my memory of her note. If I hadn't felt like something was missing, I would have totally ghosted her by accident. Seconds after hitting send, she accepted. Sophie's PFP is just like her. A squishy white polar bear, looking all soft and pure. Hello, Carter. It's your desk mate. Sophie, this girl is too much. Seeing that message, I just chuckled and typed back fast. Sophie, if you don't sleep now, you're never gonna grow. Good night. Good night. Carter Moon. I put my phone down, just imagining her staring at the screen like a glitching NPC. Was she really waiting up all night? With that thought, I drifted off into a deep sleep. Next morning, class, 12-1, at first high. I pull up with a smile, greeting Sophie before sitting down. Morning. Sophie's already tugging my sleeve, offering me a grape. Want one? She's literally glowing. Those teeth, those baby-fat cheeks. She looks like a straight-up adorable hamster. Seeing those nervous, hopeful eyes, I just nodded and smiled. Sure. I took a bite of the grape. That sweet flavour was hitting different. I gave her a thumbs up. Fire. I couldn't even pick grapes this good myself. Wholesome girls like Sophie are just too pure. But the real world is trash to people like her, especially since she's so timid. Stepping into society would be a nightmare. Lowlifes always try to drag the good ones down. But since I vibe with her, I'm going to help her level up. For shy people, the hype is key. So I never missed a chance to gas her up. Hearing the praise, Sophie's face went full tomato mode. Her eyes were sparkling as she pulled more grapes from her desk, handing them over like she was offering legendary loot to a king. I still have more. Looking at that silly smile, I just smiled back. All right. I'm not holding back then. If you ever want to eat anything, just tell me. I'll get it for you. Okay. I seriously don't get why those trash bullies would even target a girl this sweet. Sophie's eyes lit up with so much hope. Seeing me finish the grapes, she tried to grab more, but the bag was empty. Whew. All gone. I just awkwardly scratched my cheek. I basically ate her whole stash. It's fine. Seeing my awkward face, Sophie just smiled and pulled out a whole box of grapes. From her bag by the desk, she said, "Here, I have plenty." She handed me a few more. I shook my head. "You eat them? If I take them all, what are you gonna have?" Even though I had a massive breakfast, eating all her food felt like too much. But I really have a lot. Since I refused, Sophie just pointed at her bag. She's looking at me so pitifully, like she's about to cry. This girl's cuteness is actually OP. Seeing that look, I had to fold. Okay, just this last time. But you keep the rest. Got it. I'm the one getting free food. But it feels like she's the one flexing on me. I took the grapes, teasing her while I ate. Why does it feel like you're the one winning here? Sophie just giggled and scratched her head. Because you said you'd give me lots of good food, so it's only right. This girl is too pure. Just as I was about to say something, Sophie checked her watch and whispered, "I'm hitting the restroom real quick," watching her go. I was just speechless. She even reports bathroom breaks. Is she going to report every single move? Thinking about how naive she is, I felt like I was raising a daughter. If I treat her like a daughter, and we date later, wouldn't I be a seeing? She wasn't back yet. I stepped out. Suddenly, I heard a commotion. There's only one sausage here. You think this is going to save you? She actually got cornered in the bathroom. Hearing those voices, I didn't hesitate and kicked the door hard. The door didn't just open. It straight up crashed to the ground. Total destruction. The loud crash absolutely terrified those delinquent girls. They saw the door flat on the floor and swallowed their insults. If they tried anything and I kicked them, they'd be cooked. Their small frames wouldn't survive. Damn. Is this door made of paper? Looking at the fallen wooden door, I was stunned. Even with my new physique, I shouldn't be able to just delete a door like that. Looking at the fallen wooden door, I was stunned. Even with my current build, I shouldn't be able to kick a door down like that. MC Diff is real. But since this was a school, it actually made sense. Old doors. high humidity. The whole place was basically a fragile shell. Whatever. I looked over at Sophie, surrounded by those girls. Sophie, dead over here. She had been in the bathroom for 20 minutes. Turns out she was cornered. I literally just told her I would protect her. And now I was getting a total face slap. Hearing me call her, Sophie kept her head down and sprinted to me, acting like a whole flood of beasts was chasing her. Seeing her look so down, I shielded her and asked, "Are you okay?" Sophie just shook her head slightly, whispering, "Yeah, I'm fine. That is good." I grabbed her shoulders and pushed her to a spot a little ways from the restroom. "Wait here. I will be right back out. No fighting." As I turned back to the restroom, Sophie quickly grabbed my sleeve. "Fighting will just cause a massive amount of trouble. Relax. I am just going to go talk some sense into them." I patted her head seriously. "Be a good girl and wait. Understand?" I understand." Having settled Sophie, I went back into the restroom. I looked at the leader and said, "Hey." Before she could even say a word, I snatched her arm. I lifted her and sent her flying in a majestic 360-degree shoulder throw. Boom. The intense back pain made her suck in a breath of cold air. She was about to spit some harsh words, but her face just froze. And she shut her mouth real quick. "Listen up. Do not cause trouble for her ever again." Looking at the stunned girl, I swiped the pack of cigarettes from her pocket and tossed it straight into the sink. If I see something like today again, it won't be this simple. You stole her grapes. This pack of cigarettes is the tax. Do not steal any more, or I will take something every single time you do. These girls holding grapes definitely swiped them from Sophie. I do not smoke, so tossing them was the ultimate move. Seeing that no one dared to speak, I stood up, glared at those delinquents, and walked out. Class was starting soon. I had zero time to waste on trash like them. Watching my retreating back, complex emotions flashed in the leader's eyes. Not even anger, but just an indescribable sense of grievance. On the way back to class, I saw Sophie being all silent with her head down, like she was the one who did something wrong. I got annoyed and poked her head. "You silly girl. Don't you know how to fight back when you are being bullied?" Sophie covered the spot I poked, whispering, "Because you said you would protect me, so I knew you would definitely show up." Hearing her voice, so small but firm, I actually didn't know what to say for a moment. After a second, I gently lifted her face, saying seriously, "Word by word. But I cannot be there 24/7, right? So you have to learn to resist the bad things, say no to unreasonable demands. Understand, even though this sweet, naive girl made me want to protect her. I was not an accessory attached to her all the time. The best way was to help her learn to say no, feeling the warmth of my hand." Sophie blushed and nodded her head. Her voice was tiny. "I know." Then she hurriedly pulled the remaining grapes from her pocket. "Here? You eat the grapes." "Wait. Didn't you just say you knew?" Looking at her serious, innocent face, I helplessly pinched her cheek. "At a time like this, you have to say no. No. Not okay. Understand?" Meeting my exasperated gaze, Sophie blushed, but said seriously, "But I do not think giving you food is a bad thing. You are different." Just as I was about to continue my lecture, an angry voice echoed from afar, breaking the vibe and drawing our attention. Serena was marching quickly toward us. She was dragging Julian along, who was clutching his cheek. These two are grouped up again. Seeing them approach, I suddenly shielded Sophie behind me, asking coldly, "What is the matter?" Julian has already left the Lewis family. Why are you still targeting him? Serena glared at Sophie, who was blushing behind me. Targeting Julian is one thing. But why are you bullying Sophie too? I looked at Julian hiding like a coward behind Serena. You say I am targeting him. Why don't you ask him where that slap mark came from, and claiming I bully my new friend? If you are not going to use your eyes, donate them to someone who actually needs them. I did not expect Julian, after that massive drama at the house yesterday, would dare drag Serena to cause trouble for me today. Just how big is his ego? Or does he think I am some pushover? He can step on Serena. I am fine. Julian pulled Serena's sleeve, looking at Sophie peeking out from behind me, and said pitifully, Sophie, do not worry. Carter is just a bit rough. If you are worried about anything, just tell us. We will help you solve it. Since he got kicked out of the Lewis family again, he knew his chances were slim. So he had to hold on to Serena for dear life. Plus, he needed to make her hate me, so that even if the families wanted to push the engagement, she would never choose me. If she chose me, he could still cuckold me and enjoy a life of luxury. That is why, after leaving the house, he immediately called Serena, claiming I threatened to leak his old video if he didn't obey me. Such a terrible excuse actually fooled her. He still thought I was two-faced, acting one way on the surface and another behind his back. Do you know that casually calling someone rough is extremely rude? Looking at Julian's pitiful act. Sophie gripped my shirt, looking totally confused. Also, isn't the guy supposed to do the protecting? Why are you hiding like a total coward? Bro really wants Serena to carry him. And why do you keep lying about Carter bullying you? I haven't seen him do a single thing. She looked dead serious too. She wasn't even trying to defend me. Just speaking facts. But those questions, absolute lethality, Julian's whole poor me act, just froze up. He couldn't answer a single one. Especially the hiding bit. Pur silence. It was like he was standing on a guillotine. He finally crawled out from behind Serena, looking all pathetic. He acted like he wanted to talk but couldn't, making sure everyone saw that slap mark. He knew whatever he said next was going to be an L. Playing the victim was his only play left. Seeing him stay quiet and noticing the mark, Serena frowned and looked at me. So, you really slapped him? Huh? She knew something was off, but it was too late to back out. The vibe was already set. She couldn't just walk away halfway. Yeah, I slapped him. Simple as that. I held up a hand to shut her down. Hold on. I'm not done. I stepped up, grabbed Julian by the collar, ignored him, squirming, and absolutely rocked his other cheek. To be honest, that first one didn't even count. You hit me again. Julian started howling, his left cheek on fire. Bro probably lost count of the slaps by now. In over 10 years, nobody had even bumped into him, let alone slapped him. You violent thug. Let him go. Serena tried to grab my hand when I swung. Let go? Or else I told you. Serena, go fix your brain. I let him go, and Julian just collapsed like a wet noodle. Julian, are you okay? Serena rushed to help him. Serena, did you see that? He hit me again. Julian literally dove into her arms, crying like a baby. Sophie, look, he's a monster. Stay away from him before he hurts you too. But Sophie wasn't moving. She just stared at his face, looking super confused. Those slap marks, they don't match. One is huge, and one is tiny. Her voice was soft. But the whole room went dead silent. Even the crying stopped. Julian froze mid-sop. Serena pushed him back to get a better look. Yep, The right side was way bigger than the left, and the finger marks were way longer too. Serena's face went dark instantly. This was the third time Julian played her. "Julian, what is this? Explain yourself right now." Serena stood up, looking at him with pure disappointment. 10 years of friendship. And he used her like a tool, 3 times unforgivable. If she wasn't mad enough, she realized. Those other 2 times were probably fake too. She was fuming. The drama brought in a whole crowd of students. After hearing Sophie, they all started comparing the marks and whispering. Julian's plan was fully exposed. Julian had staged the whole thing to frame me, seeing Serena turn cold. Julian went pale. He didn't expect this plot twist, even though I hit him hard yesterday. The mark faded. So, to look like a victim. He slapped himself. Major L. He never thought his own fake evidence would end him. Serena. Wait. It's not what it looks like. He started rambling through his tears. But he knew he was cooked. Right as he tried to stand, he just went limp and fainted. Julian Serena panicked. Even after 10 years of lies, she couldn't just ignore it. The crowd was losing it too. Someone even tried to call an ambulance. Don't bother. Don't waste the hospital's time. I knelt down and started pulling off his shoe. Julian's heart was probably racing like crazy right then. He forgot I knew his weakness. He was faking it again. This was his go-to move whenever he got caught at home. If it wasn't for me, they would have actually fallen for it, and he would have gotten away with it. He learned from last time and held his breath. He thought if he didn't breathe, he wouldn't smell his own feet. Big mistake. While Julian was busy not breathing, I raised that shoe and slammed it right into his soul. Boom. A soul-crushing scream filled the hall. Julian was rolling on the floor, clutching his foot. I just tossed the shoe back. Just a joke. Bro, next time you fake a faint, try harder. You always pass out at the perfect time. It's too easy. I'd be a bad friend if I didn't expose you. Right. I ignored all the stares and whispers, and just pulled Sophie back to class. Serena took a deep breath. Watching Julian struggle, she didn't even say a word. Just one look of pure disgust before walking away. As for Julian, no one cared. A teacher finally showed up, and Julian had to slink back to class with his ego in shambles. Back in our seats, I just looked at Sophie and gave her a playful smile. Too easy? Okay. Hold up. I didn't think she was that sharp. If she becomes a detective later, it's literally over for everyone else. Top tier for sure. Sophie didn't even react to my teasing. She just kept her head down, grabbed my right hand, and whispered softly, "Does it hurt?" See? That was the hand I used to humble Julian. Every action has an equal reaction. Right. If his face is looking like a swollen pig's head right now, my palm definitely took some damage too. But feeling her soft hand and that faint scent wafting off her, I got all awkward and looked away. I told her I'm fine, even though his face is thick as a brick. I've been training. It's just a little red. No biggie. Sophie just kept gently holding my hand and blowing on it. Then she asked, "What is actually wrong with that guy?" She felt like he was always targeting me. I told her, "Look, it's a long story, but I'll give you the too long didn't read." Watching her blow on my hand like that, I half joked that if I told her, she'd think it was some mid-soap opera drama. Truth is, he's actually... I broke down Julian's whole deal and his shady motives. Then I got serious. So if you ever run into him when I'm not around, run. Get as far away as possible. Understand, that guy is a straight-up toad. Sophie actually shuddered, rubbing her arms and nodding like her life depended on it. She promised to listen to me. She looked so lost that I just had to pat her head. I told her not to be so gullible or someone's going to sell her one day. Then she looks me dead in the eyes and asks, "Would you sell me, bro?" I had to look away immediately. I started stuttering, trying to explain. I was like, "It's just an example, you get it." She just smiled and said she understood. She saw me panicking and just gave me this serious smile. Carter would never sell me anyway. Then she asked me to teach her something since we had time. I'm telling you, Sophie is dangerous. I swore I'd lock my heart up after getting scammed out of $5,000 in some online romance fail. But I was definitely starting to fold. I called her Teacher Sophie and we got to work. Turns out, she's actually cracked at teaching. Whenever I hit a wall or messed up a problem, she'd spot the issue instantly and explain it so simply. If my math teacher was this good, nobody would be sleeping in class. Time flew by, and before I knew it, it was already the break between classes. I was about to keep talking to Sophie when Serena showed up. The teacher sent her to hand out the placement test results. She walked up to our desk. This wasn't a normal class. This was the elite class where you're expected to be way ahead of the curve. On day one, the teachers give a test just to see who's actually built for this and who's just faking it. When she saw us laughing together, Serena looked totally triggered for a second. But she tried to hide it. She dropped the papers on the desk and told me she was sorry for misunderstanding me. Again, she even offered to help me study. Since she got into this school through my family connections, she knew my deal. My grades pure trash. I wasn't exactly a scholar. Literally 80% of the kids in this room could absolutely smoke me when it comes to scores. I told her to save the apology because we both know there's going to be a next time. I just looked over at Sophie being her adorable self. I told her I already found a teacher, so I won't be wasting Miss Coldwell's time. Yeah, I was being petty, but she couldn't even talk back. This was the third time Julian used her to mess with me. If I were her, I'd be embarrassed too. She clearly wanted to make things right. But when I ignored her for Sophie, she just walked away with the papers without saying a word. Once she was gone, I looked at my absolute train wreck of a test paper. I asked Sophie if helping me was going to mess up her own grades. I didn't want to drag her down. Even though I don't like Serena, I had to admit she had a point. My current grades were looking pretty mid. Catching up was going to take a massive grind. But Sophie, she's on another level. The way she handled those math problems yesterday, she's a certified genius. If I'm the reason her grades slip, I'd rather just hire a tutor, even if it costs me all my free time. But Sophie just hit me with that rare confidence. She said she's fine, because she's already learned everything. I was like, wait, the first chapter, or the whole book. She just playfully tapped her textbook and smirked. She told me she finished the entire 12th grade curriculum before the first day of school. No way. I could tell she wasn't flexing. Senior year just started, and she's already done with the whole syllabus. Basically, if she wanted to, she could just stay home and wait for the college entrance exams and still crush it. The teachers wouldn't even care because her scores are probably God tier. I poked her head just to see if there was a supercomputer in there. I asked her how she got so smart. She didn't even get mad at me poking her. She just gave me the sweetest smile. I told her she must have been rank 1 at her old school. Right. She just shrugged and said it was okay. She rested her face on her hands, thought about it for a second, and said she was probably in the top 10. What do you mean, probably? I thought she was just being humble. I asked if she meant top 5. She got so shy, she tried to hide her face on the desk. I had a feeling. Sophie, are you just cracked at science, or what? Since she literally can't lie. Her low rank must be for real. The girl just has zero balance when it comes to her subjects. She's a total god at math and physics, So those humanities classes must be dragging her down hard. I caught her off guard with the question, and Sophie jumped. Stuttering out, "I think so." "I thought so." I locked eyes with her. Dead serious. "Then let me carry you in humanities." Okay. After living 2 lives, I'm basically a cheat code for subjects that just need memorizing. Humanities are just a memory game. Totally different from science, where, even if you know the formulas, you need a deep brain to solve the hard stuff. But then, Sophie just started shaking her head like crazy. "Wait. What? Why do you not believe in my humanities skills? I'm him when it comes to this stuff." I told her, "Look, my science is trash, but humanities are a walk in the park for me. If you don't believe me, throw a test my way. It's not that—" She looked down, whispering, "I help you with science, and you keep me safe. But if you start helping me with humanities, does that mean you won't protect me anymore?" She was really out here thinking about that equivalent exchange life. "She teaches me. I protect her. That was the deal. But if I help her study, the balance is cooked." She felt like she had nothing left to offer in return. She was terrified that if she took my help, the protection deal was over. Seeing Sophie looking so stressed, I was actually speechless. This silly girl is so pure, it makes you want to tease her. But that's exactly why she's so precious. A few seconds of silence, and her mood just tanked. Her eyes filled up with tears, and she asked with a shaky voice, "Do you think I'm useless too? So you're done protecting me?" Right. It felt like, if I even blinked, her tears would start falling. No way. No. It's not like that at all. Seeing her try to act tough, while one tear was literally about to drop, I felt so guilty. "Don't cry. I'm always going to protect you." I felt like if I didn't say that right then, I'd have to slap myself in my sleep tonight. As soon as she heard that, Sophie wiped her eyes and gave me the sweetest smile. "Then let's pinky promise." I was like, "You're this old and still doing pinky promises." But even so, I gently hooked my finger with her tiny one. Her hand was so soft and cool, like ice cream on a 90-degree summer day. It felt amazing. Hey, we promised. You better keep your word." She was staring at our hooked fingers like her life depended on it. Sophie actually tried to look fierce for once. Like, if I broke the promise, the consequences would be legendary, but her face isn't built for being scary. She just looked like she was acting cute. "A month's vortis is bunt." I pulled her pinky and laughed. "Please take care of me from now on. Teacher Sophie." Time flew by, and another class ended in the blink of an eye. Looking at my notebook full of mistakes, Sophie just leaned on her hand and smiled. "Carter, you're cracked. You already know almost everything." I told her to pipe down, saying it's all thanks to teacher Sophie's elite teaching. I packed up my notebook, took a big stretch, and asked if she was heading to the restroom. "I'm going too." I hadn't forgotten what happened. She got cornered last time. Me asking was basically saying, "If you gotta go, I'm your bodyguard." Sophie's cheeks turned a little pink. "I'm good. You go ahead." So I headed out solo. Right when I was about to stand up, 6 or 7 students from other classes appeared at the door. Before anyone could blink, they pointed at me and started whispering, "Look, that guy in the back row is Carter. He's the one who face-slapped Julian. Guess you can't judge a book by its cover." I didn't think he was that violent. Honestly, how is someone like that still allowed in this school? Hearing the gossip, the kids in my class started looking at me strangely. They knew what went down at the door earlier, so they understood why I checked Julian. They were a little scared of how OP I was, but they didn't think I was wrong. Everyone hates a fake snake. Once the mask slips, hearing the trash talk. Sophie actually looked mad for once. Just as she was about to snap back, I joked with her. "Sophie, wanna bet Julian is probably camping somewhere out there?" As soon as I speak or do something, he'll spawn in, apologize, and say some cringe lines. With Julian's low-tier acting, he really thought he could step to me. I knew his exact script without even thinking. He's waiting for the perfect moment to play the hero, making everyone focus on how kind he is. If it works, he plays the victim even more, and totally wipes out his bad rep from earlier. Sophie was stunned, looking at me with pure curiosity like a kid. Really? Let's see. I walked toward the crowd and raised my voice. "What you guys here to catch hands for?" Julian, I didn't hold back at all. Everyone nearby heard exactly what I said to Sophie. Every eye in the room locked onto the door. 6 or 7 seconds later, Julian did not disappoint. He came sprinting in from the door and started his cringy performance. "Carter, don't do it. They're my friends. They only came here because they saw my face was messed up. If you're mad, take it out on me. Don't touch them. They're innocent." Looking at Julian with fake tears and snot everywhere. The students in the back row were just... The students who heard my talk with Sophie couldn't stop laughing. Like, what's so funny? That clear laughter made Julian freeze. He felt a bad omen rising. He'd come there to play the hero and save his image in front of Serena. He wanted to fix his perfect persona. But this laughter meant things were about to go south, fast. For real. One student was clutching his stomach, laughing so hard it hurt. "Julian, bro, since when is your acting this fire?" He started excitedly repeating exactly what I had just said. Instantly, the way everyone looked at Julian flipped. Even the friends who came to back him up had a dark look in their eyes. Hearing that, Julian felt like 10,000 alpacas were stampeding through his heart. Turns out, before he even started his act, that bastard Carter already blocked his escape. If I hadn't spoken first, he would have looked like he was just protecting his friends. But now he's just a clown, directing a play to look good, looking at everyone's eyes. Julian knew he was cooked today. He was just about to pull a fake feint, but then he caught me staring him down out of the corner of his eye, basically saying, "Go ahead. Feint. I've got a new trick waiting just for you." How did it end up like this? The whispers were getting louder. Julian didn't care about saving face anymore and bolted from the room. His rep was already trashed in Class 12-1. If he stayed, it wouldn't just be this class watching him fail. Seeing Julian run, his friends just looked at each other and left too, watching them run away like losers. I crossed my arms and smirked. "Hey, next time, check the facts before you defend someone. Don't let people use you like a tool without even knowing it." If Julian wanted them as shields, I was going to make sure they brought him drama. Teens have fragile egos. My words were like roasting them on a fire. Even if they didn't do anything crazy to Julian, they'd definitely start messing with him. After they vanished, I turned back and smiled at the class. "All right, the show's over. Let's get back to studying." Most of the students just laughed. This drama was pure fire. Honestly, just a pity it was too short. If it hadn't been exposed so soon, we probably would have seen some even better scenes. Everyone was low-key, hoping Julian would show up for round 2. After joking around, I casually walked back to my seat, before I even sat down. Sophie was looking at me with pure worship. Her eyes were so beautiful and expressive. She didn't say a word, but I could feel the joy radiating from her. See, told you I was right. I sat down, acting like everything was under control. That green tea would show up right on cue. "Carter, you're a legend." Sophie clenched her fists. Totally hyped. There were so many of them, and you didn't even flinch. If it were me, I wouldn't even be able to speak. She was so excited, her cheeks were turning a charming rose pink. All right. No need to overdo it. Faced with her sincere praise, I actually felt a bit embarrassed, thinking about how often she got bullied. I suggested, "Hey, Sophie, you want to learn how to fight?" I was ready to teach her some quick, brutal moves like a groin strike or an eye poke. Meanwhile, Serena was still staring at us. Her hearing was sharper than most. So she'd been eavesdropping on my side. She heard me say Julian would jump out. At first, she didn't believe it. Even though Julian had played her before, she didn't want to think he was two-faced. But reality just gave her a massive face. Slap. He didn't just show up, he did exactly what I predicted he would. Thinking about his fake act, her heart was in total chaos. He was moving further and further away from the boy in her memories. Meanwhile, over at Class 12-8. Since the classes weren't on the same floor, it took Julian a few minutes to get back. But he didn't go in. He stopped to look at his friends a short distance away. As a master manipulator, he knew he had to keep this group on his side. If any of them talked, his 2-year perfect persona would totally collapse. He didn't have the time or energy to brainwash them again. The best way was to handle them now and make sure they kept their mouths shut. That way, even if the other class talked, his spot in his own class would stay safe. He still had a chance to bounce back. Thinking of this, he hid his anger and put on a fake smile. "Thanks for standing by me. Everyone, starting today, for the next week, snacks and lunch are on me. How does that sound?" The guys looked at each other and nodded. Only an idiot turns down free food. Real benefits are the only thing that matters. I'm heading in, waiting for them to enter. Julian's smile vanished. He looked toward Class 12-1. "Carter, just you. Wait. I'm not letting this go easily." Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Maybe he's scared of getting folded or just hasn't found an opening. But Julian's been ghosting me lately. Sophie's been training under me, and she's already learned some moves to shut down any guy who tries to get handsy. As for female opponents, I didn't have a practice dummy for her yet. Plus, the secret techniques of the legendary eunuchs aren't exactly easy to pass on. Anyway, we were heading to the Lewis family's old estate. Looking at the text Sophie sent, I couldn't help but smirk. She wrote, "Teacher, I've got a family thing today, so I won't be studying with you. Since someone asked me to, I'll text you if I have questions after school." Cool. "I'll hit you up when I'm home." So cute. Even through the phone. I could totally see that girl's goofy smile. Then I noticed Evelyn staring at me. She's like, "Carter, what's with the grin?" I know she's secretly thinking, is my son finally in love? She knows that look all too well. Back when she was dating Richard, she used to act just as foolish over his letters. Now kids just stare at their phones. I told her it was nothing. Just a joke I read. I stuffed the phone in my pocket and switched gears. "All right, Mum. Where's Big Sis?" Today was the big welcome party for the Lewis family. So even Fiona, who was literally grounded, was allowed to come. The plan was for the whole squad to go together. But Fiona pulled a disappearing act right before we left. Evelyn looked totally done with it. She said Fiona's coming later and told us to just head out. But I could tell Mom was uneasy. She's probably praying Fiona doesn't do something totally brainless today. It's fine. "Mom, even without Big Sis, you've still got me and Sarah." Chloe noticed the vibe and patted my shoulder. "Just be a good boy." Carter, little sisters, handle the drama. Sarah chimed in, saying third sis is right. Just relax. Bro. Then she teased Chloe, saying, if trouble pops off, we'll just use her as a meat shield and run. Chloe was not having it. She pouted and glared at her sister. Don't even. If I'm going down, I'm dragging you with me, okay? Okay. Mom laughed and cut them off. She told Chloe and Sarah to stay glued to my side later. If things get difficult, let her know. They both nodded, but I knew we needed to be ready, seeing everyone so happy. I had to bring it up. I bet Fiona went to pick up Julian. If he shows up... I didn't even have to finish. Everyone knows the trope. In these fake young master stories, the sisters always disappear, creating a chance for Julian to talk trash. He'd try to ruin my reputation and drag me down to rock bottom. Everyone went silent. They got the message. Mom just smiled and said, Don't worry. Carter, I saw a flash of something dark in her eyes. Mom's got this. She told me to just focus on the food and drinks while she was giving me the rundown on the ceremony. Urgar slowly pulled into the Lewis estate. The place was on the highest peak, with only one road connecting it to the world. Reportedly, the Lewis family built it themselves, even going full throttle. It takes 30 minutes to reach the city. Straight up murder mystery vibes. Looking at the thick forest and that lone road, my first instinct was to call the cops in novels. These remote villas are always where the plot twists get bloody. It's only a matter of time. Uh-huh. Chloe saw me staring at the trees and patted my shoulder. Carter, stay out of the woods. It's amazing there. And getting lost is a nightmare. The Lewis family bought the whole forest just for some peace and quiet. Except for the villa. It's basically a wasteland. This time of year, it's crawling with snakes and bugs. Going in alone is a death wish. Relax. I'm not some curious kid. I just shook my head. Looking at the villa, I asked why the grandparents even live here. Like, the commute is trash. Right. Chloe's eyes went all soft. Apparently, this is where they first met. Now that they're older, they just want a quiet life. And don't worry about the location. They've got a full medical team. And everything they need right there. You're a total sucker for their love story. Aren't you? I teased her. Why don't you take a hike in the mountains? Maybe you'll find a Tarzan who's your type. She glared at me instantly. You little brat, get lost. You're totally ruining the mood with that Tarzan talk. All right. Let's get serious. We're here. The car stopped, and Sarah fixed my collar with a smile. Carter, show 'em what you've got. Today is the big day. I'm finally returning to my roots. Second, Sister told me not to worry because she won't let me lose face. Honestly, my vibe was already shifting, becoming way more composed and controlled. Before, I might have looked like some immature kid, but now I was exuding this calm, mature energy. That's hard to describe, but everyone could feel it. Seeing my transformation, the Lewis family members just looked at each other and smirked. They knew I was ready. This brother of theirs always keeps the surprises coming. The Lewis family went all out for this welcoming ceremony, and the prep was straight fire. They invited every heavy hitter in the city. When our car rolled into the lot, every guest turned their head, dying to get a chance to talk to us. A rare shot at networking with the head of the Lewis family could bring insane benefits to their own clans or companies, but when the family finally stepped out, the crowd looked confused. They weren't seeing the little young master they expected, but an unfamiliar young man instead. I was right in the middle, surrounded by the two Lewis sisters. Aside from a few people on the inside, most of them had no clue what this banquet was actually for. The smart ones started guessing and whispering about who I was. I didn't care, though. I just tuned out the noise. Chloe grabbed my hand and led me into the hall. whispering that we had to go see Grandpa and Grandma first. Before we walked in, Sarah caught my sleeve to remind me that the grandparents were waiting on the second floor. She told me to be on my best behavior, even as an adult. She's still low-key, terrified of Grandpa Lewis's strict vibes from when she was a kid. I looked up at the balcony and saw an old man and woman looking down at me with these really kind smiles. Grandma looked sweet, but Grandpa's eyes weren't just full of love. He looked genuinely impressed, like he was satisfied with what he saw. After checking out the situation, we headed upstairs. Evelyn stayed right by my side and told me gently that they'd been waiting a long time to meet me. They had to wait until today because of all the ceremony prep. Since Richard was busy hosting, she was the one guiding us through everything. She was worried I wouldn't vibe with them, so she was trying to prep me, showing me how much they cared so I'd accept them easier. I just smiled and told her, "Don't worry, Mom. I know what I'm doing." I totally got what she was trying to do. I actually wanted to talk to them too, having grown up in a fish market. I was an expert at winning over the older generation. I could tell from their eyes that they liked me. This wasn't going to be one of those trash tropes where the family rejects the biological heir for the adopted one. We were just about to head up together when a massive commotion broke out at the entrance of the hall. Evelyn looked like she was about to lose it. Is this rebellious daughter trying to kill me? She saw Fiona walking in, holding Julian's hand. Evelyn wanted to charge down there and slap her. Of all days, she really dared to bring Julian, the one person everyone hated, to this party. If I hadn't held her back, she would have rushed down right then to show her daughter some very aggressive affection. It wasn't just Mom. Chloe and Sarah looked absolutely furious because the outfit Julian was wearing was the exact same as mine. It wasn't just similar, it was identical, and the worst part, Sarah had designed this fit herself. Seeing it on Julian meant only one thing. Fiona stole the design and had a custom one made just for him. Looks like my last move was too soft and didn't wake my eldest sister up at all. I looked at Mom and my sisters, seeing their faces turn black with rage. I just smiled and pulled them toward the stairs to meet the grandparents. I told them not to let irrelevant people ruin the vibe. Julian showing up wasn't a surprise, since Fiona didn't come with us. I was already prepared for something like this, but I was a little shocked. She actually dared to copy Sarah's exclusive design for him. The three Lewis women gave Fiona and Julian the deadliest glares before moving on. They kept heading upstairs. When Fiona caught their eyes, her face went totally pale. She realized she had messed up big time. She had seen the design sketch when she passed Sarah's studio one day. She thought it looked cool, so she secretly had one made to Julian's measurements. Now that she saw me wearing the original, it finally clicked. This was Sarah's exclusive gift for me, and me alone. She wasn't even planning to bring him, but she couldn't handle his tears and begging. Her lovesick brain just took over, and she caved. She completely forgot about the clothes. Now, facing the family's rage, her love-addled brain finally snapped back to reality. She was about to try and sneak Julian away, but he wasn't having it. He ran to the stairs and shouted out to us, "Mom, second sister, third sister, brother, good evening." Julian's main goal tonight was to use this chance to force his way back into the Lewis family circle. He figured even if they hated him, they wouldn't say anything too harsh in front of all these guests just to save face. As long as people still thought he was a Lewis young master, he could keep using that name to get whatever he wanted. He thought the family wouldn't dare cut him off. If he caused a scene, the Lewis family would be the ones who looked bad. He really believed they'd just pay him off to keep things quiet. But when he called out, the sisters didn't react how he expected. For the sake of the family's reputation and my big night, they were trying their best not to end him right there. But before they could even say a word, I beat them to it. "Excuse me, you're just an adopted stray in the Lewis family." Looking down at him from the stairs, I dropped the ultimate truth bomb on Julian. You share 0 blood with us. So stop acting like we're family. The fact that the Lewis family even raised you to adulthood was straight up charity. They gave you a roof and paid your tuition. So I expect you to know your limits. Julian thought he could use that young master title to guilt-trip the family into keeping him for the sake of appearances. Big mistake. I exposed him as a total fraud and listed everything our family already wasted on him. The Lewis family raised an outsider for years, provided shelter, and paid for his education. No matter who you ask, we've been more than generous. Julian's face went ghost white. He didn't think this country boy would be this sharp with just a few words. I demoted him from a Lewis young master to a greedy, ungrateful leech, and since I was spitting facts, he couldn't even clap back. The whole banquet hall started buzzing with gossip. People started comparing our looks too. I've got those top-tier Lewis family genes. Totally mogging Julian and his mid-aura. As the new young master, I had that same main character energy as Richard. While Julian looked like a literal waiter, we were wearing the exact same fit. But everyone could see I was leagues ahead. Let's move. I gave Julian and pouting Fiona one last look before leading my family to the second floor. Upstairs. Grandpa Lewis was chilling on the sofa, sipping tea and smiling at Grandma. Turns out, this new grandson is actually built different. He saw how fast I handled that trash, Julian. As the boss of the Lewis Empire, his eyes were sharp. I didn't just humble Julian. I showed off a level of wit that most people just don't have. He knew that with the right training, I could take the family to the moon. When Grandma heard him hyping me up, she just smiled and nodded. She said I was a good kid and noted that 2 of my sisters already liked me. As for the oldest sister, we'll say, while they were talking, we finally reached them. Chloe, being her usual extra self, ran over and hugged Grandma. Grandpa. Grandma. A long time no see. I missed you guys so much. Grandma patted her head, laughing about how she's still a smooth talker. Then Chloe pulled me over to introduce us. This is Carter, the brother we just found, since the ceremony wasn't over yet. They were still using my old name. Hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandma. Since we weren't close yet, I just played it cool and stood there respectfully. Sarah was being quiet as a mouse, since Grandpa was around. Grandma, wavers me over. Carter, come here. Let Grandma get a good look at you. You got it. Grandma. I walked over and knelt down in front of her. They loved that. Grandma was like, yes? He's the spitting image of Richard when he was young. She rubbed my cheek and looked at Grandpa. Hey, old man. Where's the welcome gift for our grandson? Hand it over. She was really vibing with me. I guess that grandparent energy is no joke. Even though he grumbled about her rushing him, Grandpa pulled an emerald pendant out of his pocket. This is from both of us. It's nothing too crazy, so don't think too much of it. My sisters were absolutely stunned. An imperial green emerald. And he says, it's not precious. Is he for real? I took the pendant with both hands and gave them a big smile. Thanks. Grandpa. Thanks. Grandma. I'll take good care of it. Silly boy. Let me put it on you. Grandma draped it around my neck and said, it looked perfect on me. It really fit my vibe. Thanks. Grandma. Just as I was about to say more footsteps came from the stairs. Then a voice spoke up that made everyone cringe. Grandpa. Grandma. It's been a while. We all looked over and saw Julian and Fiona walking up. If the grandparents weren't there, Evelyn would have probably thrown hands right then and there. She couldn't believe. These 2 actually had the audacity to show their faces. Sarah was death, staring Julian, looking like she wanted to rip the clothes right off his back. She spent nights designing that fit for me, and now he was out here flexing in it.